Remembers it's a workshop environment, so you can feel free to speak from your seat, but we are keeping to that same 3-minute time limit, just so that everyone's aware. So is there anyone that would like to speak this evening? Okay. With no one speaking, we'll go.
My name is Penel Madsen. I live in East Village. I'm sorry, can you guys come up because I can't hear? Oh, did you sit
Okay, yeah. You could sit there if you want to. That might be good, huh?
That's good. There's a microphone here. My name is Penel Madsen. I live in East Village, and I'm here because of the sand and the Long Meadow Park. And I know it's a very big issue, and it's just I feel sad when we live in this beautiful, wonderful neighborhood that I don't feel safe to take my 3.5-year-old down there. And it's just, I think it's sad, and you know, she'd been there down there, you know, once, and she was actually, she had, you know, the poop, or if it was from a raccoon or a dog, I don't know. But it's just, I don't feel it's safe for me to go there. And I know there are a lot of people that are saying we could just use the other playgrounds, but there is 4 or 5 in this wonderful area, and I think we actually are allowed to be, it should be safe to use them all. So I'm really hoping that it will be replaced with something more safe so we can all be there. And also for all the pregnant ladies in town, it's too dangerous for us to take our kids to the playground, and I don't think that's the way it should be.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, is there anyone sitting for owner's comment period? Yes, ma'am. And I'm sorry, just because we're having some problems hearing up here. If you could come on up to the front for us, that'd be great.
My name is Jana Renner. Are we supposed to say our address?
Right there.
Okay. Thanks. My name is Jana Renner, and I live at 846 Runner Oak Street in the East Village. And I wanted to pose what I thought would be a nice compromise option for the sand, which would be, a lot of people really do like Long Meadow Park. I personally like that it looks natural with the sand. I understand that, you know, currently there's a lot of issues regarding it, but I thought what might be a nice compromise would be to take the sand out of the 2 places in the North Village, which clearly has a little bit of an issue drying out there. The sand's always kind of wet and a little bit gross. Would be to take it out of there, and then that would alleviate time for the maintenance crew that works for Town Hall to have more time to maintain Long Meadow up to better standards. And I think we are in a community situation, so you have to take into account everybody's opinions, so it would leave Long Meadow Park for people and hopefully be better maintained with more man hours to put towards it. We would still have the beauty of Long Meadow Park with the sand, but then at the same time, it would be safer for everybody involved without a huge cost increase. Does that make sense? So, thank you.
Anyone else for homeowners comment? Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about the Long Meadow sand issue?
Sure, yep.
Okay, sorry.
Anything you want to talk
A
about.
little late. Back from the airport. Yeah, my name is Ida Rohaidi, and I'm a Long Meadow Park resident. And I've been there for 14 years. My kids grew up there. They rolled in the sand day and night. In the summer, from the morning till the evening, they would come home with sand from their hair to their toes. I'd have to like, and we never ever had any issues with respect to any kind of parasitic infection, mold or bacterial infection. Besides my kids, they would bring their friends over from, you know, sports teams or after-school friends, and they would play there. And the summers were like an all day at the park when they were kids for years and years and years. So I don't understand why now this is happening. I've also never seen any cats or raccoons in that area, so I'm not real sure why all of a sudden. What is the new variable? You know, I like to look at things in a scientific way, if you will. So you look at all the constants and the variables. And the constant, that sand park has been there forever. I don't know how many years. I would guess 16, 17, 18 years, right?
19 years.
Sand park has been there before we got there, so 18, 19 years. So that's a constant. The seasons have been unchanged. As far as I know, hasn't been too much climate change. The kids have grown now, but the kids have gone through there. I've seen kids of all ages play through there for over a decade, and that has not caused any undue stress or for any parents or any parasitic infections that I know of, or bacterial or yeast infection. So what is the new, we need to find out what the variable is, like in an algebra equation, what is the X factor? What is the new independent variable that's causing us to have this new issue with these fecal matters that people are talking about?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Hi.
Hello.
Kimberly Luckman. I live at 310 Grand Magnolia. I understand this is a workshop, and so I don't think anything's going to be voted on or decided today.
Nope.
So in that spirit, I just thought, I would come with, just present you guys with some handouts as to like what the facts are that I've used to help me base my opinions on. I also was hoping that we could work together to kind of figure out a way of making the Longmeadow Park such that people do have an active choice in what they're doing with themselves and their children. There have been 30 reports of animal feces since, I believe, September 1st. And that's quite disturbing. As to why that's only been discovered recently, there could be any number of reasons. There could be more raccoons in town. Maybe garbage is left around and raccoons can proliferate more than normal. Maybe it's cats. I have no idea. But I think that people should be aware of what they're getting into when they play in the park. And the fact is that there's a lot of people who do come and play in that park who don't live here, whether they're visitors. I mean, let's be honest, people do come in and use the park even when they don't have a pass. And, people don't know what they're getting into. So when I look outside my kitchen window in North Village, there's a sign that's been put up in like a little grassy area where dogs are known to use, and there's been known to be poop there. There's a doggy pot and people pick it up, but there is a sign that says pet waste transmits disease, and it goes on to ask people to clean up and stuff like that. But if we're, for however long, for whatever we decide to do with the sand, I think we should put something up so that people who aren't aware at least know what they're getting into and can have a possibility to not go into it if they want to. I also just wanted to point out, of the pieces of information I'm going to give you, the CDC publishes a document on removal of raccoon feces, and so if there's any raccoon feces in the park, I don't think that we should encourage people to remove it themselves, because it does talk about the fact that you can't remove it with chemicals. You actually have to use heat, either boiling water or a blowtorch or something like that, to torch the area and make it sanitary. And there's a source on here just so that you can get some clarification on that. But I definitely wouldn't encourage people to go and clean it up themselves, because that could be, A, we won't know what's ever been there, and we won't go and pour boiling water over the entire park, and B, it could cause them a health hazard. And the last thing I'd like to say is that I think there's been some sort of...
3 minutes. That was 3 minutes. That was her 3 minutes.
All right. Thank you.
I really just have to say one more thing. There's been some sort of misunderstanding that people have threatened legal action. I don't know who has been perceived to have threatened legal action, but I think that when people have
I'm going to
said
stop you
that,
here. Okay. So thank
when
you.
people have said that there's a risk, it
Thank
doesn't
you.
mean that they're threatening anything. They're just saying.
Yep. All right. Anyone else for homeowner's comment this evening? Yes, sir.
Me, please. Hi, everybody. I'm Don McDonald. 402 Irish. Been here since the beginning of time. Raised 4 children, 1/2 of a block from Longmeadow, where they played incessantly. Ida, who, by the way, is not just somebody who appreciates science, she's a true scientist. She and her husband are very well-respected physicians. Matter of fact, I know a lot of well-respected physicians whose homes surround Longmeadow and have for years, and not once has one of those doctors ever said, "Oh, I am so scared of parasites in our park." If I remember correctly, and I've done some research, there are parasites in the soil of every square inch of the state of Florida. Every square inch. If people are concerned about their children's health, According to the Centers for Disease Control, the #1 cause of children's death are cars, automobiles. If you're that concerned about your kids, then why would you ever put them in an automobile? Why would you ever do that? Sand exists. Florida is made of sand. Totally made of sand. It's a big sand pile. If the weather changed dramatically, we would look like a peninsula of Saudi Arabia. It would be sand dunes. We have all kinds of risks that we face. Should there be signs on every doorknob of every restroom saying, warning, you could catch the flu from touching this? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for homeowners comment period?
What was it?
Anyone else for homeowners comment period? Hello.
Diane Finney, 1230 Right Circle, number 105, Artisan Park. I just wanted to come here and express a few thoughts. I've heard there's concern about the sand lots, and I thought perhaps some sort of sign posted, play at your own risk, might perhaps help alleviate, the thought of lawsuits about sand, and the parasites and all that. Also, there's beaches in Florida that you can go and let your kids play in the sand as much as possible. If the sand lots are a concern, perhaps they ought to be eliminated. I mean, if it's a real problem, keeping them clean. I know when I was raising my sons, I never let them play in sand lots because I knew that you can't control just how clean they are. And then regarding the dog park, I also wanted just to express concern over the cost. The last meeting I came, I believe Dave mentioned an idea about doing some sort of subcontracting work on the dog park, and I thought that was brilliant if that would bring the cost down. $750,000 more or less, I think is just exorbitant. And regarding its appearance, it's tucked away behind the library. I don't know how any visitors to Celebration would actually see the dog park. I mean, I think it's a great idea, long overdue, but not to that kind of expense. I think something simpler could be done and might be very pleasing for at least some people. Of course, you still have issues with dogs, loose dogs, fighting with each other. So it's not necessarily a win-win situation. It would be nice to have some space for dogs to run loose and not worry about them running out into the road. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else for homeowners comment?
Doreen Warrior, 515 Marisol Circle. I'm still not sure if there is an issue in the sand. I know that the Presbyterian Church has been bringing their whole school down there for recess every day for years, and I don't think we ever had a report back. Also, I'm sorry?
It's her time.
No, they bring their children to the Long Meadow playground and play in the sand every day, and that's the playground they come to. But I don't think we've ever had a report that any of those children have gotten sick. But again, I'm still not certain whether it's the sand or just wanting to replace it with something else or whatever. But there are options that can be installed there, such as if animals do come at night, which I'm still not sure they do, you can set up these water deterrent systems that are very inexpensive if you wanted to. You can also set up sonar type equipment that also has been proven to deter in certain parts and areas where actually they do have animals and bears and raccoons and so on and so forth. So maybe not having to replace the sand, if that's what people do, some people do like, that we could come up with a inexpensive option and keep the sand.
Thank you. Anyone else for homeowners comment?
So Evan Parrish, 529 campus. I've got a few things. So the first one is we're getting our new roofs at campus and the service area, so we're very excited about that. But with that, we've also waited for landscaping for a long time. So I know that we want to do the landscaping after the roofs are done. That makes total sense. But I don't want us to start the architectural process with the landscaping and their design and approvals until after the roofs are done. I think it would be advantageous if the association would start that process now, and we're able to get the residents, buy-in, so that literally, building A is done with the roof, they move on to B, and then A could be followed up by the landscaper, so we don't have to wait another year for that. So certainly that's a big thing. I also want to thank the board for the time on the task force. I think you're going to see some things from that tonight at the next meeting, so from the master planning recreation. So that was a great opportunity. I think we did some really good work there. And then last but not least, certainly there's a lot of discussion around sand. I don't want to be the broken record and add to that. I think the thing that I struggle with is when there are alternatives available in town of every piece of equipment, and the residents that live close to that and have children like myself, who are literally not 3 houses away, to take that away from my child when we bought there for that playground, seems like that's just as much taking away my right as it is empowering someone else's, especially when the folks who live nearby that playground have not been the ones who said they want to change. So I think that's really all I have for tonight, but really most importantly is the landscaping. So if you could get that on the radar, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else for homeowners comment? You're popular over there.
That's the time.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Hi, I'm Laura Deja at 1021 Banks Road Street. So I learned something new today about sand that is not feces related, believe it or not. I spoke to Brandy Smith of the NPPS. And according to the Public Playground Safety Handbook, published by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, sand surfacing has a fall height of 4 feet maximum. And our playground, according to the 3 vendors that I brought in for the artificial turf, has a 6 feet minimum requirement of fall height, which means that even not talking about feces, we are not meeting code. And I know that this playground was built 19 years ago, so I would really appreciate if Steve could kindly investigate on the fall height. That's the handbook. And also, when I started working on this project, it was really for selfish reasons, because I just wanted to be able to bring my kids to that park after a school pickup. But then I've met some parents there that had their toddlers playing the sand and digging it right next to the feces that I uncovered. And I just feel that now I just have a moral responsibility to, carry on this project. It's not about me, it's about protecting some children. So here's an update. I have found and reported 30 animal feces in the Longmeadow Sands since September 1st. On average, there is 1 to 2 new feces in the morning, every morning, and I understand that some older residents might not have found them in the past, because literally you have to take your little shovel and remove the top part of the sand to actually find them. Eric has recently used the expression suspected feces. So this morning I took a video as I was uncovering feces number 30. And I have the feces in a Ziploc bag so that we can send them to a lab and have them tested to find out if they're actually feces. I uncovered feces number 17 in the presence of maintenance workers Louis and Malachi on October 1st. I uncovered feces number 25 and 26 in presence of the same 2 workers on October 13th. I uncovered feces 27 and 28 in presence of maintenance worker Rob on October 16th. And then October 2nd, Steve and I were at the park and we found feces in the sand as well together. Surveillance videos cannot lie. So I would like to request to be able to watch those tapes and provide the board with more evidence that there is indeed feces in the sand every morning. The CDC and AAP both recommend, in all their articles that, all right,
thank you.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Larry Warner. I live at 412 Greenbrier, and to this lady's point about there not being raccoons and whatnot, we've trapped, we live in right across the park in Greenbrier. We've caught numerous feral cats, numerous raccoons, and numerous possums, and Osceola County has gratefully picked them up for us and taken them away. I've got 30 years of experience in dealing with childhood exposures from a risk management standpoint, first at Texas Instruments and then at Mars Incorporated. Mars is the world's largest chocolate manufacturer. And I have 2 children. So when I look at things from a risk management standpoint. And there's several things that I find that I would be concerned about as an owner, not just with respect to my children. I think you have a duty to put a warning sign up there very quickly because we know we've got a problem. I believe, and you should check with legal counsel, I'm not an attorney, but that if in fact somebody does get sick there and they decide to sue, I think you have increased your liability exposure by not taking prompt action. With respect to whatever you decide to leave the sand or to put something in that's known to be safe, I think you probably should talk to legal counsel about that as well. That was what I would counsel if I was working, if I was still working for Mars or for Texas Instruments. I'm really concerned about this. We tell our kids to wash their hands immediately after they leave. We warn parents when we see parents in the park, particularly little kids, about what's going on. And they're surprised. They said, we had no idea. We said, well, and they always thank us. I think you need to put a sign up tomorrow, if not sooner, warning people that there is a known problem there. I think that would mitigate your exposure somewhat while you decide what the proper response is to this. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for homeowners' comment? Yes, sir.
Tom Tucson, 1104 Rosemary Way, over in East Village. So, what concerns me is, again, I've said this many times, I think if you say the right things and you scare enough people, it's going to become, the worst thing that can happen in this community. I still find it odd, and I've said it to a few of you, that since 1996 we haven't had a problem. And yet when one person decided to take it on as their project, they've been able to find things at whim. I really find that odd. So this morning, as I'm watching this one person actually go there, I walk the park, and I think the idea of you actually have to shovel stuff to actually find it. Well, in order to go ahead and shovel stuff, you actually have to actually know where it is to shovel. There's a lot of sand. I walked over there twice. It took me about, I'd say about 50 minutes. Didn't see anything. But I see this one person goes ahead and walks over it to the general area, didn't take her long, and starts digging. I really find that suspicious. The threat of lawsuits, you hear a lot of that. The school's going through. Same person is leading the charge to get rid of mulch, deciding to go ahead and try to threaten the PTA. There's too many threats in this community lately. Too many threats directed from one direction. This isn't what Celebration is about. People who've lived here a long time work together, try to come up with solutions. I don't think this is what we want to become. But all of a sudden, by a few people, that is what we're becoming. I hope this board thinks about that when making any type of decision, when making any type of threat. I think if you work together, that's one thing. I think if you get threatened, I think the conversation's done. Because that isn't the way we go ahead and interact with other human beings, with other friends, with other neighbors. Everybody in this room is a neighbor. We should be thinking about that. And one person isn't more important than the other. But let's not try to make this an obsession. Let's not try to make things, going crazy over this. And quite honestly, everybody goes ahead and watches where their kids play. If it is so bad, there are other parks in the area to go ahead and play at. If you choose not to, that is it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for homeowners' comment? Yes, sir.
Appreciate all the friends that along that. It just occurred to me that a lot of children lose toys in that sand area, and I have repeatedly gone over nearly the entire park with a rake trying to find various toys, and I have never found anything other than, occasional toy. So So I've scrutinized just about everything there on multiple occasions looking for toys. So I just thought I'd throw that in.
How old is
Thank
your
you.
youngest child? How old is your
6.
youngest? 6?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else for homeowners comment? All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:56 p.m. Rachel, if that matches with your time, it's acceptable for the record. Let's see. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion.
I'm sorry. Does anyone want to move these around at all?
Yes, I'd like to see a pledge of allegiance.
No, I've got guest here for this one.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to add the Pledge of Allegiance for adopting the agenda. Is there a second? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. So we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First item for this evening is to review the proposal from Hanson Walters and Associates for Engineering, Landscape Design, and Permitting. This is tab 1. And just as a reminder to everyone, this is a workshop setting, so there will be no action taken this evening and no vote. This is simply for in-depth discussion of the agenda topics for this evening.
I just wanted to introduce, ask Danny Bumpus and Mark to join us for the, ask Danny Bumpus and Mark to join us just to help with this section because I'm not an engineer and they've done several projects and I just wanted to have them briefly talk.
I think I'll just start out and go first. I'm Danny Bumpus. I live at 607 Front Street. My office is 603 Front Street. I'm an architect, designed the Lakeside Park expansion, which seemed like it's a couple of years ago, but I think it's probably a lot longer than that, where we did the tennis courts and the, I'm not supposed to say pie truck turnaround, but I can't think of it. What else do you call it? Anyway, so we went through that. Cul-de-sac, there you go. So we went through that successfully. I'm now the architect for the CDD building, which is under construction behind the library the dog park areas between the library and the CDD building. Debbie has been coming to me several times just to get some opinions on the dog park. First off, there's no architecture in this, so I'm not trying to get a job from you guys. At least they're not at this point. What you have from a CROA, who's a great contractor, is a design-build proposal, but it's not really based on enough pertinent information to come up with a valid, comprehensive price. The first time we saw this, just to give you some examples, in their landscaping price they have Bahia sod and Bermuda sod and irrigation. Those items look pretty good to me. What they don't have is the buffer that the Celebration Company is going to require, which is 2 rows of shrubs all along the golf course. They don't have the canopy trees that the county is going to require on all 3 sides. They're not going to require it. I take that back. They are going to require trees along the road. We just have to stay out of the gas easement, which I'm not sure McCree was aware of. But right now everything is out of the gas easement. So there's a lot of discrepancies in their landscape bid that's not included. The other major item is I suggested to Debbie that she get a proposal from Mark. Mark is the engineer for the CDD project, so he designed the road and everything else that goes along with it. There's a lot of permitting agencies that have to have their hand in this, starting with Celebration Company, Reedy Creek, South Florida Water Management District, all the county divisions. And it's not clear in McCree's proposal if they've included all that. They have several exclusions that to me were a little burdensome. One is they don't have a performance and payment bond, and you absolutely need to have a performance bond on this. If the contractor goes under, you're stuck with having to start over and pay for everything again. So you have to have the performance bond. Another one was work required or directed by any agency having jurisdiction over the project that is in addition to the work set forth in the contract documents.
Which one is that, Danny? I'm sorry.
That's number two.
Okay, thanks.
There are no contract documents. An engineer such as Mark needs to prepare these documents, and there's going to be a lot of things that he's going to show in his drawings that are required by jurisdictional agencies that I suspect McCree does not have in this job. And so if you sign the contract for the, I think it was $381,000, $381,427, I'm afraid you're going to be subject to a lot of change orders for things that are excluded at this point. And once you've got the contract signed, you're kind of at his mercy. You don't have a lot of way to argue very well with that. Here's another exclusion: is relocation, demolition, or addition of any trees. I said before, there's going to be a lot of trees that are going to be required. There are trees on the site, and if they need to be removed, then he's not covered the cost of that. You may want to save some of the trees, but either way, that's not covered in this cost at this point. There's no fill for the site. I did talk to Mark. There probably isn't a whole lot required, but again, at this point, we don't know because there are no drawings that show exactly that.
Is there anything for drainage or water retention?
They've got a water line to serve the water fountains. They have a line item for site work, and I think it is grading. Although again, I'm not quite sure what they've based it on. I did talk to Mark about whether any piping would be required. He said no. Some swales need to be constructed so that the water gets to the retention pond, which was sized for this project. So that one's not a big concern, but again, we're not quite sure what they have in there.
So this is more like an estimate then, right?
Oh, it's an estimate. I mean, they've based, let me back that up. They've priced what they've shown on the plan, but it's not all inclusive. And another one, they've got gravel parking shown, and I'm almost certain the county's not going to allow gravel parking because it will have to be paved or stuff. And
that's definite.
We've talked to Jim Parker. He comes to our CDD meetings, and he's seen this too, but this is really not enough for him to do a formal review, and so that's always going to be the.
But why would, can I go back and say, why wouldn't they allow gravel?
The county's not going to allow gravel parking.
At the church, they have it by the fire department. Why would it be any different?
Well, church is a little different. They're overflow parking in the grass with paved drive-on.
It's all that, isn't it? Isn't it all gravel parking? It's all at the church there? Isn't it? So that, I don't understand why wouldn't they allow it over there?
The Catholic Church?
No, I'm talking about the one by the fire department.
It has gravel and it's paved too.
It's grass. It's mostly grass.
But it has paved with the overflow. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think there's any. Where? There is?
Down on the field side.
Yeah, most of it's grass. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm wondering why the county would not. I mean, we talked about with the CDD even doing it originally too. So I just don't know that. I mean, why the county would care about that.
For churches and.
This is civic use, right?
No.
This is a private. I'm asking, but this is private. I mean, why wouldn't we push back?
You can always push back against the zoning director over the county.
Yeah. And save us money.
For commercial, they typically want to see paved surfaces. For churches, they have allowed alternative parking in the past. I'm not sure if it's still in the code for churches or not, but they do typically provide some paved, and then overflow is grass or gravel.
Because I think the reason why I'm saying is this makes a difference on the other stuff we're doing. You know what I mean? So setting a precedent for the fields and everything else, we don't want to have to if we don't want to build to actually pave some stuff. We might want to do exactly what we're talking about. We might want to take that piece of land at the end and use that for parking that is just grass on top. And that's what I'm saying is that we might want to push back on some things that make it long-term better for us.
Well, and that's almost exactly to my point.
Yeah.
At this point, McCree has gravel. I don't think that's going to be allowed, but it hasn't been designed, and discussions haven't been made with the county or with the celebration company. Maybe either one of them may say no to that. So the biggest thing is there's too many things that are not identified, and I'm afraid if you go forward with this right now, the 381 is going to turn into 581. And you're going to get stuck and not be able to come up with that. If we had some plans, if Mark did the design drawings, did all the permitting, and McCree bid it, then his price would be based on exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah, he can still bid.
And he can still
Yeah.
bid.
Well, I think we're missing a step, right? I mean, until we get to there, we still have to show it to the celebration company because we need to add some of the stuff that they're going to do and some other, right? I mean, they're going to add some other things. They're going to require some things differently.
But he knows what those are. That's what he does and what he does.
So to answer Lee's question, I think whoever does the design, architecture, and engineering, that will generate those construction documents that will then go to TCC for approval. So yeah, Jim, I mean, I've talked to Jim about this. It's a conceptual design, and we both are on the same page with that. It's just we have to get, however we get to that next step is when they'll become part of that approval process.
I mean, if you wanted to hire McCree's engineers to do this as a first step and not sign the design build proposal, that would be better than signing the design build proposal, just to throw that out. And I'm not really tooting Mark's horn, but he's been through this whole thing. He's designed the entire corridor, so he knows exactly what needs to happen.
And your bid is $5,140 cheaper.
Well, he's got surveying included in his proposal. He's got soils testing included, which I don't think McCree does. But in any event, somebody's got to do it. Mark's got a lot more familiar with it than anyone else.
And I just want to comment that I think on Steve's cover, he had said that Mark, that Hanson Walters Associates has no experience in the dog park. They're not bidding or looking to build a dog park. They're just doing the civil engineering park, and I hope that he didn't build a dog park because they're a civil engineering firm. Is that correct? Okay, so you do this first step, and then from that, other people bid on your work. Is that the way industry standard is?
The contractors would bid on Mark.
They bid from a civil engineering study.
Permitted plans, yeah. We get the permits, so you do all the issues resolved with the agencies, and then you can solicit contractors to price it out.
Okay. And you've worked in this county for how long?
20 years.
For how long?
20 years.
20 years, okay.
So I just want to back way up here for a second. So when we first started down the road of a dog park, I know that we were looking purposefully at a turnkey solution, mostly because of manpower, managing, contracting each individual piece out. And at that time, the decision was made to not do a piecemeal decision out, and just go with one. That's why we invested the money with McCree. That's why we invested, to do that work. Help me understand, because I guess I didn't think the purpose of the agenda item was to beat up McCree's proposal.
No, it's not to beat up the
but I think
proposal.
that
It's just to understand.
what I want to understand is what would be because normally when we subcontract things out, there needs to be like an owner's rep and someone that's a site manager and that sort of thing. Is that something that you guys would provide, or is that something that we would provide on top of that, or how would that work?
You could hire an owner's rep to kind of be the person between you and the design professionals and the contractor. Mark could handle some of it. There's plenty of people that could do it. The CDD is blessed because Floyd McCollum is an architect, so he's pretty much the owner's rep. So, and that was pretty much free, so that's working out. But if you did do a design, bid, build, you would probably need to hire someone to act in your best interest on a weekly basis, just to make sure everything is going correctly, and to resolve differences between plans and contractors.
Okay.
And Danny, in your experience, if you go that route, does it make sense to hire them all at the same time so that they can all work together?
It probably would. This is not a very complicated project. It's not a building, so I mean, there's really not a whole lot for the owner rep to do early, but it would be good to have all the pieces in place.
So can I just get a quick clarification?
Yeah.
The previous board, which was back March of 15, right? The previous board was the one that voted to do the design build, correct? So what we're saying then is that there are people on the board now who do not want to do the design build anymore. Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
I don't know if the previous board voted to be designed to build.
Well, they
We didn't get quotes until the proposal just came.
Right.
This is the proposal. You can't vote on a proposal. So the only proposal is the one in front of us
The
right
RFP
now.
that went out was a design build.
Yeah, it was.
That was my question. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
Now we're looking at a much larger
I mean,
expense.
But we changed it quite a bit.
When I talked about it originally, I wanted to just get a fence up. I wanted to see how much use that thing was going to get. I don't want to spend $500,000 on something that's not going to be used. And I felt that, all right, fine, we moved it over to the corridor. Well, I know it's not going to be this big picturesque thing, but I'd rather test it out first to see if somebody's going to use it. If nobody goes over there to use the dang thing.
We know we're going to use, I mean, we've had.
You don't know that. You know, a lot of people don't want to walk. I mean, I watch them by me.
Maybe about location?
Exactly, the location. And that's the issue that I have. If you put $500,000 into a project and nobody uses the dang thing, forget it. Up where I'm from, where I lived, up in New Jersey, they put this big skate park in because that's what they wanted. They put it right behind the municipal building in a park. It sits there. To this day, it rotted. Nothing left of it. Nobody would use the dang thing. They spent over $100,000 putting it up. That's my problem with this. Test it out with fence, with watering in there. All you need is a few benches. You need water fountains for the dog, some bushes up around, trees, whatever, and that's it. See how it works, and then go forward with it. I mean, this isn't rocket science. I mean, come on. You level out the property. You know what the pitch is in order for it to drain off. As long as you have a level out there, I can practically do it myself for crying out loud.
With all due respect, and I get that, Dave, as far as the location, it is different from what people said they would use. If we are going to spend, though, $500,000, $400,000, whatever amount it is, I just wanted 3 bids. And McCree is absolutely fine for this estimate. Again, it's not a bid, for this estimate to be one of them. But I want a valid, comprehensive price, and we can only get that from a civil engineering study. Can I finish speaking, please?
No, you can't, because here's the problem.
I can't finish speaking.
We've had this discussion before with multiple bids. We've been out to bid multiple times.
No. One of these bids was a landscaping company. City Beautiful is not a company that can build a dog park. This was not put out to get 3 bids.
City Beautiful actually replied back saying we want to be part of this, so I forwarded them the proposal.
But are they a landscaping company?
They are, but they said we want to be part, so I gave them when I say the 6, this is one that asked for a bid packet.
Right.
Okay. What I'm saying is, why are we spending $500,000 in this community without 3 bids? This part of the project has to be done, whether Mark does it or someone else does it, it has to be done. Then you can get a bid. The reason these people didn't bid, when I talked to all the contractors I talked to, is because they did not have anything to bid from. They need a civil engineering study to bid from. I don't want to spend $500,000 of the community's money. I don't feel it's fiduciary responsible. My fiduciary responsibility is to look out for them. I don't think it's responsible to spend $500,000 without the piece we need for bids to come from. McCree, I'm absolutely fine. They are obviously one of the pieces, but let's do our responsible thing we need to do. Get this study done. Mark's happy to come in $5,000 cheaper. He knows the community. You can use someone that doesn't know the community and pay $5,000 more. That's the board's decision.
$5,000 cheaper than what?
If you were to take the piece, just McCree's, and take the piece.
But McCree's piece is tied to the biggest piece, right? So I don't know if that's the case.
People do civil engineering studies.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is the $5,000 you're quoting maybe not something that you can quote because McCree's price is, if you removed everything else they did, if you told them that wasn't part of the entire package, if they were only bidding on the civil engineering, it might
I'm looking at the permit and the architecture and engineering portion of McCree's bid.
Yeah, but I'm saying McCree's bid is entirely. No, what I'm saying is McCree's is an entire package.
Right, I'm just looking at
Design
that
build.
portion of it. Really, I'm looking at that portion of it.
Right, but if we ask them, if we remove it, it might be different.
$62,274, and I'm looking at his portion, his bid, which is $57,170.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
Oh, I agree. And by the way, Mark and I have worked a lot in the past. So I'm not saying good or bad. What I'm trying to be is open that McCree's bid is based on a lot of things that are
McCree's isn't a bid; it's an estimate.
But those things that we're talking about are not bids.
Yes.
Those are fixed. Okay, so now getting to the build part of it is, right?
You know, we can say $5,000 if we look at this one and we on the county.
But we bid on
We can't say $5,000.
Right.
We can't.
No, because
We might save $100,000, $200,000.
we didn't ask them to bid just on that like we've done with Mark, which is fine.
Yes, we did. That's what this is.
We're missing one critical.
It was included in everything.
Decided that we said that we would need.
What's that?
Which is an owner's rep. if we go this route with having multiple pieces, we're going to need an owner's rep.
Which is what the project manager is? Is that the other name for it, or what's owner's rep?
Yeah, and the thing is with McCree probably also is you have somebody who is doing everything, who you probably have to watch because they're the ones, if they ring up lots of change orders, they have nobody, who are they going to go to for change orders? Yes, yeah. So no, I agree. I'm just trying to get to the point. When we did the Lakeside Park, we actually asked Danny to be our owner's rep. They'd stay on and basically, because he designed it, and then his job was done, and then basically work with the construction company and actually do that and report it back to the board on milestones and that kind of stuff. So,
When they did Lakeside, did they have a civil engineering study?
Right, and this building too, right, and this building too.
Osceola Engineering.
Who did?
Osceola Engineering.
So Osceola did an engineering study, and then did you get 3 bids? Or 1 bid?
No, we sent it out to several people. I don't remember how many bids we got.
But you got more than 1?
We got more than 1.
Okay.
We got more than 1.
But we did send, I don't want you to make it sound like we didn't send this out. We sent it out to multiple people, and McCree came back. We're talking about 2 different things. We're talking about the engineering stuff. We're talking about building it. So McCree has built dog parks before.
McCree is a very reputable company. I have no problem with McCree. All I'm saying is this is an estimate. It's not a bid, and I can't put $400,000 onto a vote and go forward with this as it being an estimate. Can you guys help me out? I'm trying to explain what am I?
No, I get it. It's going to. What we're saying is that there's a lot of things in that could change. It could go down. It could go up.
It could change to $200,000. I can't vote on something with that.
But it could still change. Even if we do vote later on, the same thing could still happen.
Because when they have a civil engineering study, they know what they're bidding on, and the bid can be held to a higher standard than an estimate.
We can get to the next step, but the same thing still can happen.
You can't get there to do this piece of it, whether it's him or whether it's McCree. It needs to be.
I agree, but I wanted to say that the same thing could happen. That number could go up a lot. Whether it's Mark.
But the responsible thing to do is to get a civil engineering study and get 3 bids.
Well, that's what we have to get engineers next anyway.
Can I say one thing?
Right.
Interject one thing. First off, you're talking about this specific plan that's on page 15. Looking at this plan 15, I'm not happy with it at all. Okay, it doesn't provide an easy access for large dogs. It's certainly lots more than I expected to. We waste an awful lot of time on the east side, on the west side, on the south side. It's not what I want. Well, if you want to go someplace else and then do an older bid on it, I'm fine with that. And we'll integrate all this stuff that Debbie's talking about and you're talking about.
Yeah,
but the plan I see right now is not acceptable.
So, can I just interject also that there is a 6-acre dog park built on a hill in California, an extremely expensive area. 6 acres for the site work was very extensive. It included trees, and it was at $850,000. I really think we can get more value than a parking lot and half a dog park, which is what I'm seeing now. This is really not attractive. Anyway, if you guys want to see the California park.
Well, is anybody else interested in a better shaped park?
Here's where I've struggled with this throughout the whole thing. And Debbie, I thank you for going out and for you guys bidding on this, and we're trying to get things. And I guess the thing that I keep struggling for is we keep asking people for work, for someone to bid on the park, which we went through this a few months ago, and we couldn't get it. We then got someone to come in and do it, and they gave us the Taj Mahal of dog parks. We saw the price initially and it was like, crap, we can't afford this. This isn't going to work. We then went back to the dog park committee in Parks and Rec and said, tell us what you have to have, sort of thing, because whittle it down, sort of thing. The whittled down version is kind of where we're sitting at today, and it's still a whole heck of a lot of money for us to be able to do it. If we put a fence up and grass, which we could do, my only concern with that is that I need to have a damn good reason of going back to the residents and telling them why we didn't go with what you guys recommended and expected from the beginning. And so I'm with you, Jack. I already struggled that we've sliced the park in half.
It's not slicing it. I'm just looking at access. For example, the large dog access is all the way down the other end of the park.
It's not ideal at all.
And then when I see that it's only half an acre, I thought we were getting something bigger than this.
Well, we cut it down.
I know it's slice it down, but it concerns me that the bang for the buck's not there. It's not a really design thing. If you had the dual entrances going into each park, that's one thing. But I see 28 parking spaces there, and I see a whole lot of wasted space that we'll never be able to use for parking if we need for rec events. It's just not done well.
Can I just say that as far as having trouble getting bids, and I respect that I'm not sure where the things were when you guys did that or whether projects you had, but I ask other people, we already have an estimate from McCree. I can get 2 other bids if I have a civil engineering study, but what is wrong with spending this piece of it we have to do anyway? Getting 2 bids, proper bids from a civil engineering study, and using McCree's estimate, if that's what you'd like to do, and then viewing it, because we've waited 18 years, I want to do this right. And I cannot spend, I repeat, I cannot spend $500,000, give or take $200,000 where it's going to go, on something that a very expensive community in California is building at a fraction of the cost. Again, it's an estimate, it's not a bid. I want 3 bids if I'm going to spend $500,000 of the community's money.
Well, the reason, let's go back to history a little bit first. McCree couldn't get to where, no other company would get to where we're going now with all the work they did. Somebody designed this for free.
Because they didn't have a civil engineering study?
No, they designed it for free, right? They designed this for free. But they did a lot.
Wait, how much did we pay them, Steve? 12.
But at first, but all the work they did at first, they did for free, right? Based on. Listen, I'm not defending them. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to get to where you're getting. What I'm saying is that they did a lot of work for free based on getting to where we were, because nobody else would get to there. And then we paid them to do a lot of that work that you see that we've already seen for the last couple of months, and we made them change it again. So what I'm saying is, if we didn't like the entrances and all that stuff, which I didn't look at, by the way, because I'm not, I hope that...
You don't have a dog.
Well, no, but also we had people look at it that I hoped would like, that. So now I feel bad that he didn't like the entrances, because I wish he would have said that sooner. It would have been nice to know a little bit sooner.
We had different entrances.
But I completely agree with a couple of things. First is, the way we're going, McCree, it's very hard for an outsider to work in this community under working with a CDD, working with Celebration Company, a lot of things. So I think McCree's we're going to find a lot of those things that Danny says we're going to find extra money because of it. And Mark has done the work, whether it's even free work for, by the way, the Recreation Master Plan Task Force. He's actually he's helped us, originally, he was in those meetings, and he spent time helping us and didn't charge us for that kind of work either. So I agree, we're going to find a lot of the pitfalls that we're going to run into with the Celebration Company and the county and that kind of stuff. So how do we manage that, whether it's with McCree or anybody else? We probably have to figure out, like Eric said, is what we need. We need somebody who probably can manage the process a little bit, and then have that person kind of say, maybe we do need to break it out. Maybe Hanson Walters might be the best local company to do some of the engineering stuff, because they're doing the road, they're doing everything else there. If they weren't doing it, then it may be a smart thing to do, but I don't know, how do we get there without disturbing the whole process, is what I'd ask you.
I think there's 2 different arguments that are being had at the table right now. The first argument is the process. And both are perfectly acceptable processes for building a park, building a building. And I've seen them both done, where you either do a design build or you go through a design bid build. It's just the reason why my recommendation from the get-go, and by the way, I think Mark's been wonderful, Danny's been wonderful, they've offered me advice and help on different things, they've been great to work with. But we started the process at A, I feel like we're at MNOP, and we're getting ready to go back to A again. That's why my recommendation has been the design build from the get-go, because it's more of a turnkey process. So if you use the other process, you start back at that point and you start going with hiring the different companies to do the architect engineering and the permitting, the site work that will come along with that, then the actual build, the construction, and then hopefully an owner's rep. That would be my biggest recommendation if we're going to go that route, because we're stretched for resources as is, and if we try to manage this project with multiple entities, I don't think we'd give this community dog park that what they're looking for.
I don't think we're giving them a dog park, what they're looking
The
for.
second argument to this that I hear going on right now is price. So that was concerning when I heard that there were some questions with that. So I did reach out to somebody who's a registered landscape architect with the American Institute of Planners and asked, is there any fluff in this? Is there anything I should push back on to cut? And there's no fluff that's being recognized. So I understand what Danny's saying. You're going to have to do the trees and shrubs buffer, but you're going to have to pay for it either way. Whether you're paying for it in the design build or you're paying for it the design bid build. You're going to have to pay for the demolition of trees if there's demolition of trees needed. If you can't have gravel parking, as you're going through that process and it's said by the county that you need concrete, you got to pay for that. So someone's paying for it. So the question is, are the numbers off? And I don't think they are. So that's where we got to it.
I would like to say, I think they are off when I look at La Jolla, California, which we know is an expensive area. I'm sorry. It was an expensive area. I'm sorry, Mission Diego, which is even probably worse.
That was last year.
Yeah. Is Mission here in Florida? Or?
This is also in California.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and there's many different variables involved.
It could have been graded.
No. It was an extremely steep hill. The site work was extensive.
Who built it? Was it the government or?
It doesn't matter. Just the government doesn't build, government contracts. Yeah, it's all there. What I'm saying is, whatever we do, McCree is known for building. They're a general contractor. You guys don't build, you do what?
Civil engineering and permitting.
You're a civil engineer. So this is what you do. McCree, if they do the architecture and engineering study, they're doing it obviously, I assume, in-house, or do they do this out-of-house?
No, I think they described who was doing that. Was it Little John?
Little John.
Yeah,
and we together. That was why they reached out. The two of them joined together in order to do the process.
So I think it's quite clear you don't want to go with...
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying McCree is absolutely one fabulous estimate. I want to do a civil engineering study and get 2 more bids.
Perfect. So
that's all.
My only argument, and I'm not trying to beat you up here, but you've used the bid argument over and over and over again.
It's a valid thing. I'm not going to spend $500,000.
Are we going to get 3 bids for civil engineering?
Absolutely. We've got 2 right here.
Because that hasn't been brought up.
Sure. If you'd like, absolutely.
I don't want to do that, to be honest. I'm perfectly happy with this going up to known entity.
And I think going with...
We only have 1 bid for civil engineering. That's not good. Because Little John would be the one who would probably end up bidding on it.
My point is if we want to go down the bid argument route, then we need to do it for everyone.
Well,
if we're going to do that.
If we get 3, even if we get 3 bids, even if we get 3 bids for civil engineering, there's a lot of validity with going with the company who has the experience and has worked with TCC. So that's not. I understand if we want to get 3 bids, I understand that, but we still may not go with the lowest bid.
No.
I'm spending $60,000 here, I'm spending $500,000 here. Yeah. I don't know how many bids you want for 60, but I think if you want 3 bids for 60, you should definitely get 3 bids for 60.
I agree that we need the additional bids based on the amount of money that we're spending. I like the idea of having the turnkey operation, but still the turnkey build. But right now, I don't know that that's going to be an easy sell to the residents based on the 1 bid and the 1 proposal that we have.
Well,
and a good use of our money.
That's a good point, but let's talk about just civil engineering. I agree with you. Because the next thing we do is if we have to take what you're talking about, we probably have to have somebody redesign it. Right? You know what I mean? Or, right? So I don't want to go there just yet. Right. I don't want to go there just yet. But let's say if we wanted to do it, I agree. I don't think we need to bid a $5,000 contract out personally for engineering because I know.
Yeah,
I know what they've done. I know how much work they've done in the community. We're going to save. Nobody's going to be able to compete because of all the information they're going to have. And even if it was a little bit more, it's going to cost us more in the long run. So I don't think that's a big issue. But it's getting to the next step. Let's say we do this. What's next then? Do we need to have somebody design a new dog park, bid out for a new dog park design?
They look at his work and see.
No, I agree. What I'm saying is, any engineer's work, but it will be his, let's say. But we basically have to go back and say, redesign a dog park.
Well,
please.
Right?
And the shame of this is that now we're pushing this back where we hope to be building along with the road. That now we're pushing.
Not going to be able to.
We're not. We hope to, but that hope is pretty much gone at this point. It's already November.
Can we ask Danny if he's got time to do it or Mark?
Do they do that?
Doesn't take much to do fence.
No, it's a fence.
And I got to tell you, some in the proposal for the creek, I'm looking at a 6-foot chain link fence.
We can't do chain link.
I think we're going to get a celebration special type fence.
We decided.
That was on the back side. What on the front side? The front side was supposed to be a nice.
I checked the fence with that straight up and down stuff like we had at the school was the same price as a chain link. So I really don't want to do chain link. I don't even know if they'd approve that.
But also at dog parks, sometimes you can't do the same fence as say at the school, let's say, because little dogs. So I mean, it's just you have to think about that. But anyway, I agree. So
it's supposed to be a celebration special dog park. That extra stuff like that.
You might upset the dogs.
Well, I think we need to take it.
Right. You're breaking it up too.
So the feeling that I'm getting from folks tonight is that we're uncomfortable with moving forward with the bid from the creek. If we want to go down the road of doing a engineering study, and I guess, well, no, I think the timeline is shot now.
No, I mean,
no matter what we do,
We have a known commodity in town that's given us a proposal for about $52,000. So if you wanted to try and keep it moving quicker than slower, you could approve that at the next board meeting without getting 2 other bids.
Sure.
And start that process. But
Dan, can I ask real quick, if we did go with this, do you either of you know of 2 other companies that would be willing to bid quickly on this once your portion is done or their portion is done?
No, what is their portion? So what $52,000 includes what?
Wait, it's a civil engineering study. It's right here in the packet. Do you guys know of anyone that'd be willing to bid on a $500,000, $400,000, $300,000, $200,000?
John, they probably.
No, they're.
Because I called a few people and they were okay with it,
You're
but.
talking about the construction side.
Yes, the construction side. Do you know of anyone? Construction.
Well, we have to design it first, but we can't do that until we design it.
No. Once this piece is done, I'm saying, do you know anyone else that'd be willing to bid? Because we have McCree. Do you have 2 other people willing to bid?
Let me tell you the true facts of bidding right now. Okay. It's getting hard again to get people to bid.
Okay.
So if Mark's somehow involved in this, okay, whatever. So when Mark's drawings are done, it's important to reach out to everybody we know and call every contractor we know and say, could you please bid this and
see what they come up with.
And see what you come up with. So I mean, I can't guarantee you that we have 3 bids. But I would
well, we have one. We have one estimate.
But that's going to change, though. If we go in a different direction and split this up.
So if they're going to drop that piece,
it's a variable. I mean, we just don't know what they're going to do.
Okay.
It's all going to be based on design.
That's fine, because we're not.
Arnco would put in a bid. They're building the.
Do they just do site work, or do they do the other stuff?
They would bid as a general contractor with the site.
They bring in a landscape
There'd be 4 or 5
architect in and do all that.
And the reason they could not bid before was they did not have a civil engineering study.
Right, they don't have anything to bid on. There's really not. They can't bid on.
Well, we also didn't invite them. They were somebody.
No, we asked them to bid. They said they couldn't. They didn't have enough information.
I thought we were talking about for the dog park originally.
But Danny, from a standpoint of go back to the beginning. If you have a RFP proposal packet for a design build and it has the build specification requirements, is that enough information to build a design build process?
But you hire somebody, you hire another architecture engineer to prepare a complete package that describes everything that's going to be needed. For instance, you could have had Mark describe all the civil engineering and all the approvals.
I'm having a really hard time hearing with the side conversations.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But normally there would be a set of plans that more further describe the dog park so that the design build company knows exactly what to bid and knows what to permit and has everything included. And at that point, you should be okay, but if you want my personal opinion, to me, design build is the worst method of delivery because what you have is a contractor and a designer that are on the same team, and if something goes wrong, you're not going to, they're just going to cover it up. And nothing against McCree, but.
So it's good to have 2 different people, maybe.
It's good to have 2 different people. There's one other method of construction management, but we don't have time for that.
That's the CM at risk?
Yes, that's it, yeah.
And I don't think this is a good.
No, I mean, if we were building a multi-million-dollar facility, then maybe.
Sorry, $500,000 to me is a lot of money.
But it is a lot of money. And again, our biggest construction is 381 turns to 481, I mean, for all these things that are really undisclosed or
So-
undiscovered.
Just to get some quick clarification on that, based on what you just said, I want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm hearing. So, Mark, you would just strictly do the engineering and the permitting end of it, correct?
Correct.
So then we would have to hire somebody else that would be an architect or a design, or you would actually do design work too for what the dog park would look like?
Yeah, it would show all the improvements that would be going in.
But that's not what you bid on, or you didn't bid design.
Right, but I'm just wondering what you can and can't do. So the first step though is you would do all of the engineering or all of the design work, or excuse me, the civil engineering and the permitting. The next step would be the designing of it.
It's all in.
It's all included in that. So the 5,200 or 52,000, whatever it is that includes all of that.
And the landscaping design.
Okay.
Because he knows what TCC is going to want.
Right. And then the next step would be to go ahead and send it out to bid for the people to actually do the work.
We trained every day.
So we would still though need a go-between, somebody, an owner's rep, basically. Is there anybody that we can use as an owner's rep that would be willing to get in there so that we can facilitate this process quickly? That knows the business.
Okay.
That was not a setup. I don't even know what you did about this. And he doesn't have a dog. And Libby is a wonderful lady. Okay, so I guess now that I've answered that, okay, I just wanted to get down to that. So.
Okay, no, good. Because
I'm again getting the temperature, Vanessa, if it's correct. Do we need to wait a week to say go on this?
We have to vote on it. We don't have a board meeting.
We can't do any board
meeting.
Right, it's a 52,000.
But we would like some direction coming out of here so we know what to put on the agenda for next week's meeting.
So,
okay, I would like him on the agenda next week if there's anyone else that's interested.
I'd like to also give them input as to what we'd like to see in the park.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I guess he has a lot of input what we've done before, but what we want changed, I mean, I guess is the big thing.
Steve,
go back to Dory.
You paid $12 grand for McCree to do something.
Yeah.
What's the something?
It was the due diligence engineering to go and make sure the site was feasible.
But we own the
design. The conceptual
so there's
designs
no
are.
issue with if we provide that.
Because I actually love the first design that we approved.
We have several designs.
Yeah.
But the one that we actually approved, that was $800,000. We all agreed we liked that.
I'd live at that dog.
The $5,000
picnic table.
But I think that's a great point, Vanessa, though, because you're going to have to decide how much of a dog park do you want. I mean, we didn't give anybody a number when we did this because we wanted them to come back with.
Well, we did. We said 150,000.
And they said that's site work.
You know what you can do with this though? Like if they do this, you get the basics in first. If this thing really turns into what it's supposed to be, with everybody going down in, the dogs running around like crazy, now we can always add amenities to it. If you want a big fountain with the whatever.
I would like some
for the
shade.
dogs to run and they can take a shower. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So you can add to it.
But we're still going to have to design it to get.
But you get it up and running. Lee, it's a fence.
Yeah, well,
It's just a fence.
Yeah, they're going to approve a fence, yeah. So why wouldn't they approve a fence? We're going to say let the dog run free?
No, I'm saying that there's going to be more to a TCC is not going to approve just putting up a fence.
No, I'm just saying that. Let these guys work with them because they talk to those people over there. Even I have talked to them a few times. I can be more than happy. So I think what I'm hearing from everyone is that it makes sense that if we had the proposal from Hanson Walters Associates on the agenda for next week, which Steve can still notice because that has to go out on Thursdays, right?
Correct.
So we can do that, have that on there. the only question that I would then have is, Steve, is there any information that we need to start working on now for you? I mean, it sounds like we have the owner's web issue figured out, the material list, you'll give us a proposal or something?
Well, I'll try, you said Thursday? Yeah, I can get your proposal.
Tuesday.
Tuesday's the meeting.
Next Tuesday.
We just have to put.
We just have to have it on there by Thursday or by Friday.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
If you can get me the proposal by Thursday, I'll put it with the packet.
Okay, I'll do it by Thursday.
Okay. So are we comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So the question that I would then have with this is, are we re-involving the dog park committee in this moving forward?
I would just let them go.
I don't think we need to at this point. The thing is who's going to be designing the dog park? We have to go back and now design a new dog park. So who is Mark going to be talking to about designing a dog park?
As Danny said, we'll put it out and get as many bids as we can.
No. Who's designing it?
I'll design it. We already have one.
Because we have some good designs.
We just need a little shade and a bench or two. There was no shade.
But it's about designing and pricing, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly, because he knows more what we're thinking.
We liked what we have. It was just
But in the design, it's going to be a
400,000
lot more detailed. This is a conceptual design.
Right.
The design's going to have a lot more information.
Right. And again, we may not have to spend to have the beautiful dog park, the 400,000 site work, because the company that's out there for CDD may say, we've got tractors and trucks out here, we can do it for whatever.
They're not going to have tractors.
No, because they're not.
By the time we go through, if Mark's drawings were done today, it's probably 120 days before we get the permits. Is that?
But they could still bid on it.
3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months. To get.
We don't have any gopher tortoises.
We don't know. We don't know. That was my other question. Gopher tortoises.
You guys had them, I know.
They chased them on the island.
We didn't have any gopher tortoises. That was looked at also, right, Mark? That's part of the whole problem. Now, when we talk about the athletic multi-purpose fields on the other end, there's a very good possibility. It could be scrub jays, there could be gophers. We don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone's comfortable with that moving forward. So Steve, you can have that as an action item.
Okay?
Oh yeah, no, I think that having Hanson Walters, it's going to help us long term. We're working with CDD, we're working with Disney. I mean, and the county. I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, if we can get something better.
Thank you for coming and helping us through this.
So, did you say you're coming with a proposal? Is that what you said? Okay. It wasn't volunteers.
We're going to have 2 proposals. We're going to have
Okay. All right.
Eric,
That's what I just want to make sure.
We're going to have 2 proposals. We'll have this one, what we just talked about tonight. And then we'll have a separate proposal for Danny to be the owner's rep to oversee this project throughout.
Well, Danny on it and see how we want to lay it out. So I think that's where the first step will kind of be looking at this conceptually, where the parking will go, where the connection will go, and how this thing lays out.
Do you guys have any other suggestions for us?
I haven't first yet. Just some design things I'd like to get with Mark on.
Do you guys have the information that we currently have from Cream on the design?
He doesn't. Besides that.
I have this.
Steve can get you.
Dan, can you also, in your proposal, help to write up the specs for the actual remaining sections of this that we'll need to bid out?
You'll have your
Remaining
specs.
sections,
The site work, everything else.
For the dog
Because if
park.
we're going to hire an owner's rep, it makes a lot of sense for them to just help guide us through the rest of the process.
Did we hire an owner's rep? Did we
need to hire a dog?
Get a volunteer. Get a volunteer with experience to be our owner's rep.
Okay.
Go ahead. While I'm thinking about this, Mark will have all his specifications for the actual construction. I'll work on what's called front-end documents between the performance bond, the notice to bidders, the bid proposal, and whatever all the others, the contracts and things. And then we'll have an actual bid date and time. We can have the bid delivered here or to my office, whichever, and we can decide on that later. We don't need to have a public bid opening. We can open them privately.
It's private, yeah.
So, and I can work all these details out with you.
Okay.
As we move along.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll put your name on some sort of picnic. Yeah, picnic table.
Names on the dugout.
That's the dog park too.
What while we're discussing this, just real quick, I think Dory had, and I've had people, and probably Vanessa, approaches saying they want to give 500 or X amount for the car park. Can we approve Dory or the Park and Recs Committee to begin accepting donations towards items that doesn't matter?
We have a donation line, and we're able to make subcategories in that line if we need to. But
can you show us? Can you give us the information by email who we give the money to?
Well, I think what we're saying is you're talking about the charitable organization. I think it's better. The question is, should we have a plan to raise some of the money, right?
Which Dory?
For the Dory, right? And then and the money can already Dory knows the money can go to. There is a what is it called 501c4.
We have a 501c4.
Yeah.
How about bricks?
We have bricks, and then Dory wants to use
Stuff like
silhouettes, and then people want to buy benches and all.
We have a doggy memorial park.
Steve.
That recreation committee.
So there is a place where we can
Task force,
say
what's it
the
say?
money, Steve?
I'm sorry?
There's a place where we can say here's 500 and you can give it.
This is the CROA Workshop. I was wondering how you were here.
We have an account set up for the dog.
How long will this construction?
We send it, we deposit it. So they just send it to town hall and then we deposit everything.
I thought we were traveling. I just want something that says.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Just circle it up here, guys. So we have, you guys are good. As much as we can be right now. You have a line of communication with Steve. Thank you, Debbie, for getting us in touch with everyone, folks like that, because I think it'll be helpful. And we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Bill. Again, it's
all right.
Thank you.
All right. Second item for discussion this evening. If I can pull it up, maybe. Well, it's the sand. I forget the way it was specifically read. Right, yeah. The discuss maintenance of sand at Log Meadow, which is tab 2. And Steve, I know you went back out and we have just the discussion items for the action item for Long Meadow. And we looked at the options of either grooming the surface, so like officially with hiring them out to do that, replacing it with a synthetic grade turf, with certified playground safety mulch, which I just want to be extremely clear for everyone is a wood product. It's the wood product that's in place at other parks and playgrounds that we have in the community. And then the pour-in-place surfacing, which is the existing surface that's there today. It would just be extending that throughout the rest of the park. So Steve, I don't know if you, or Susan, if you guys want to walk us through just kind of the different pricings of this, and then what management would be recommending, if you can do that at this time.
Well, we have, like you said, 5 different options that we've presented to you today. We have the possibility of removing between 4 and 6 inches of the sand and replacing it with the certified playground safety wood fiber mulch. And that costs about $2,000 for and plus an additional $800 for the removal of the sand.
Thank you.
And we estimated a mulch about $1,200 annually for replacement. Option 2 is removal of the sand, replaced with synthetic playground grade synthetic turf. And we did get 3 bids. Low bid is the company that we've been using for our other playground synthetic turf at about $58,000.
And just so that we're clear, that's the one that redid the repair work, that we haven't had a problem with afterwards.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for getting 3 bids.
And then the third option is we're still looking at bids, but you could do a pour in place. We're estimating anywhere between 52 and possibly 65,000. Just depends on what the different companies come back with. And then option 4 is just leave the sand there. We could pay for additional maintenance. And Davey's given us a proposal to do all the sand in the community, including the bocce courts and the tatami courts. And they have a full scope of what that entails that you have in your packets.
Right.
That's $10,900 annually. The last option is leave the sand, and when we get reports, we go and clean it. We go by every day and clean, and then we go by once a week and rake. So it's about $4,800 annually to do that.
Is that additional because we're not doing it now?
Spending before to maintain the sand.
Right, and that's our best estimate. We spend.
Just Long Meadow though. That's
It's
not
just Long Meadow. It's just at that one park at Long
So you
Meadow.
can spend it out.
Davies for everything.
Davies for everything.
Grooming of the Pentok or however you pronounce
So
it.
you've been spending $4,000 annually to take care of?
It's our best estimate on cost
Okay,
of
how
what it
often-
takes to
What does that
maintain.
entail? Going by
Yeah,
30
it's
to
gonna-
30 minutes a night?
It's about a half an hour every day to blow and clear. And then it's on a weekly basis going and raking the entire playground.
And so this is what, this was option 5? I didn't get the number.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, is there any maintenance of the mulch?
Maintenance of mulch is just fluffing it every now and then, going and making sure it's all in the right spot.
Associated with it?
I'm sorry?
And a dollar cost associated.
We looked at about anywhere between $800 and $12,000 annually. It's a lot less work to go and maintain mulch.
But the animals can go in mulch as well, right?
I thought you said 800 to 12,000?
$1,200 to $1,200.
He did say 12,000 today.
Did I?
Okay.
It's been a long day. It's been a really long day.
It's just getting started.
Wow, that's quite the discrepancy.
That would be the top of all minutes.
So, I guess, so here's my own personal opinion on this. We haven't raked it or done a good job of raking it now anyway. So I kind of throw out the idea of us adding additional burden on the already strapped maintenance team that we have to be able to do that. So personally, I'm looking at this from either we replace it standpoint or we get someone in here that maintains it to a ridiculously pristine level and we pay for that. My problem is that as much as I like the sand that's out there, the cost for us to pay $10,920 for them to come out and clean it 6 times a week is a lot of money in comparison to replacing it with another surface that we don't have a significant maintenance expense against.
Well, $10,000 seems like an awful lot to maintain. I think it was maintained before under current budget. I would like to either get other bids of maintaining the sand or have you guys put it into the schedule and do some type of trial period. I don't think replacing it with another surface is a solution in my opinion because I feel that animals can still go into that surface and that surface will have to be taken out and we come up with another solution. So in my opinion, I would like to look at having you guys put this into maintenance and maintaining the sand as is.
Excuse me.
We're done with our comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't question you if okay.
Yeah, no, you can come to the next meeting, absolutely.
Yeah, you said it was interactive, and so...
No, that's a civic corridor. This one's not interactive. We have an owner comment period of 3 minutes.
Every time we only have
You have owner's comment period.
Owner's comment period.
We discuss what
Maybe we can give them some chances to act when we come up with new ideas or new things that, talk about, then maybe give them an opportunity to jump in. I mean, they've spent a lot of time here. But I would say a couple things for what you were saying, Debbie, is that there are synthetic surfaces that probably wouldn't have an issue with animals. Do you know what I mean? So some of the list on there, I think you're right about the mulch or something like that, but some of the list of the synthetic surface would probably be fine. I want to go back again. Also, something you said too is that I don't think we have been maintaining it very well over the years. I mean, my own personal opinion and my own experience, I can tell you that I've seen stuff in there myself and stuff like that. So I go back to, I didn't comment on it because I didn't want to slow anybody down during the owner's comment period. But I completely understand that owners that live by there and kind of how they feel. But as a resident who's been and used the sand and have kids of multiple ages, I've seen that sand be really gross in many, many occasions myself. Seen it. So, and I would say that my guess, if I looked every day for crap, right? Yeah. If I looked for poop in the sand every day, I bet I would find it. You know what I mean? If I looked for it. Now, and I've been there with my own kids, and I've seen it. Now, I've kicked it. No, I didn't actually. Right. And that's the difference. Is I've kicked it away and that kind of stuff over the years. And but but back when, yeah, but, well, I mean, we used to bike there all the time. I mean, and now my 6-year-old doesn't like going to that park, because he doesn't like playing in the sand, but Mason, who's 12, liked it, you know, but Holden doesn't. He likes going to, say, Spring Park or something like that. And we do go to North Village a little bit, too. But you know, one of those things is you have to take, you know, everybody who lives at Spring Park, we have to listen to what they say. And I think one of the things is that they have a lot of experience with sand and their kids didn't get sick. So I get that. Now, again, I think I said this before. My parents used to say that we had pickup trucks and we had people, you know, in and seatbelts, and they find it funny that, you know, that I'm when it comes to craziness, I make my kids wear a seatbelt, and I'm kind of, you know, that parent. But we did this, didn't have an issue. We didn't have an issue with cords around, you know, I mean, today, you know, when you look at how these blinds are, they're not made with cords. Right, they're not made with cords, and they're made completely different. So I think things have changed, and we shouldn't get mad at somebody pointing things out to us, okay? The reason why we are where we are is probably because we didn't maintain it well enough over in the past. So maybe it's a front to us where somebody's bringing in the poop every day, and that's an issue, you know, and that kind of stuff, and we kind of have an issue. But the fact is, it's probably there. I don't believe anybody's putting the poop there themselves, you know what I mean? But if you're looking for it, and it probably is there. So I don't know if you know, most people, that Eric had a camera, and set up a camera there to look to see if he saw any animals, you know, poop, and didn't see any animals poop, but then did see poop. But, you know what I mean? So obviously there's stuff going on, you know what I mean? You know, but we didn't see it.
Everything was off camera, is that right?
Yeah, somehow it was there. I mean, he found...
Who watched those videos? Because I bet if I watch them, I'm going to see the cat.
No. I mean, you know, I believe Eric that he had it, but he did say he found poop, but he just couldn't find the animals that did it. So maybe they didn't trigger the camera or whatever it is, because, you know, field of vision. So I would say that, you know, you're probably, I mean, there has to be animals pooping. It's outside. I'm sure there is, you know, but now that I'm aware of it a little bit more and that kind of stuff, I mean, you know, and I know as a play surface, when I've designed some things and worked on hotels and other stuff, we don't use, you know, sand anymore because of the play surface. So I want to go back to a couple things that that were said in the meeting. One is about the fall height for the play surface, sand. One of the things is what happens with rain and what happens with sand is it washes away and it becomes really, really bad. So when I've seen, and by the way, one time I did tell Pat Lawson, the sand was really bad. It was green and moldy and it looked bad. And, you know, I think they had to come out and add sand or whatever it was. But it's not easy to do. It's a hard surface to maintain. So when it rains and when it comes out, you know, it probably, in some cases, doesn't have the right fall height for some of our equipment. And I would just defer it. So my question to you is, I don't know what the fall height is for Long Meadow Park, which is why I'm asking, is does it need to be 6 feet? Does it need to be 4 feet? You know, what is the equipment there? You know, no, I mean, it all depends on the height of the apparatus, actually.
Do we have right? Yeah.
And maybe
we do have to work on compaction.
Right. And specifically, we may want to look at that because maybe we're completely wrong. Maybe sand is not the height for the equipment there. I don't know that, but you know, swings I think probably, you know. So I think we have to look at safety number one, and then we have to look at aesthetics first. So if there's a safety issue, we need to fix the safety issue. So I think we need to check on that. And again, there may be a better surface to use. I always find mulch, the other mulch is not the best. Probably the residents of Long Meadow probably wouldn't want sand replaced with mulch. You know, if you're going to replace something, and replace it with a much better surface, that we don't have this issue. But I'm not saying we do that. I'm saying that now that I know about this stuff, if we're building something, if today we just found poop in sand and we do have it like a pool, if we pretend this is a pool, and most pools, like I said in my email, most pools we don't have lifeguards. If somebody complains and says, or it's complaint, I shouldn't use that word, I don't mean to, sorry. If somebody says that there's poop in a pool somewhere, we would call maintenance out and fix it. And we'd have to do a whole protocol. So now we know this protocol with sand, and we didn't before. And there is an established protocol that we were not following before. So we have to give it somebody brought that to our attention. We appreciate that. So now we're at the next level. Is that enough? Are we following that? So one of the issues we had over the last couple of weeks was we reported it because now we have a better way to report things, unfortunately, in some ways, right? We have the cell services now that we created. And when we report it, what is the acceptable level of attention? When do we need to attend to that poop in the sand, like poop in the pool? What is our standard operating procedure for doing that? And is that good enough? And is that going to make it too difficult for even us to maintain sand? Because at the end of the day, forget the surface. We have to follow, if there's poop, we have to follow protocol. Sure. So I think there's two things that I'd like to answer. I don't know if you can do it today, but what is the proper, is that sand in for Long Meadow Park acceptable for fall surface, for safety? Number one, we need to answer that question. And we have to address it if not, or whatever. And number two is, what is our SOP for now finding animal feces, I should say that probably sounds better, in sand, and are we following that, and what is best practices, and what do you expect your own staff to be able to handle and that kind of stuff, and do you need help?
Or do you just want to put up a sign and say playground?
No, I don't know. Anyway, I mean
maybe that's to just put up a sign and say.
Well, I think regardless of that, I think we do need to find out if indeed the surface is safer for our fall height. I think we do need to establish that first.
Yes.
Safer or safe? Sand is acceptable.
That's one aspect.
It's a depth of sand. It may not be right now.
Do they reflect the recommended fall height that's in the Consumer Product Safety Commission numbers?
Well, who's going to? We can't answer that yet.
Are you talking about for the synthetic surface?
I'm talking about for either wood mulch, which it says 9 inches for a 7-foot fall height, or 9 inches for sand for a 4-foot fall height, or either shredded rubber or whatever you're using, 6 inches for a 10-foot fall height. Are the estimates reflective of that?
And fall heights are measured from different places on the playground surface. So when you have like the game time rep services out at Green, those guys bring certified playground safety inspectors and they look at that kind of stuff.
That's the PIC testing that we had done.
Right. Well, and the PIC testing's a higher level.
We had it done when we replaced the surface and we found out it failed. That's why we had to replace the surface before.
Which one was at Long Meadow?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's spring. Okay.
I'm no expert, but I would bet that if they went out and measured that based on, remember sand, they do it in different spots. Sand washed away sand, it rained, you know what I mean? Sand is so hard to maintain, is the biggest issue. So one day they may actually do it in that spot, and then tomorrow some kid was underneath the swing and then did that, and then it rained, and it can't be, it's always stable or the same with some sort of poured surface.
Well, yeah, they put the foam or the pouring plate there, and then that's the surface.
Right. So my thing is, and again, I appreciate somebody bringing this to our attention, that maybe, even though some people like sand, and by the way, some, like Adam said, he likes to bring his kids there.
Every time I walk by, there's always kids.
Yeah. But is it safe for number one, and then the safe for that is, what is the protocol for maintaining? Is my second question is what is it? How much of a challenge it is for your staff to actually maintain it to the standard, whatever the standard
While
is?
you're getting this one, I want to know if it's safe for one, if it's safe for all, because you got volleyball courts down in North Village. People in that village.
There's a difference between when they do that in volleyball courts, it's completely different. There's a fall height for kids playing.
I'm talking about running around barefoot.
No, but you're not talking about the same thing.
I'm talking about.
But that's what we're talking about. That's the thing. Is you want to have.
So yeah. I think the thing that's frustrated me throughout this entire process is that I've been accused multiple times of not caring about poop.
We all and we're all volunteers.
However, the thing that I get frustrated about...
No, we haven't. We haven't seen our applications.
The thing that I get frustrated about is that never have I said we shouldn't do anything. However,
none of us have.
I'm going to remove the poop from the argument. Okay? I went out on a daily basis, every single day, when we were monitoring the area. I picked up trash, I picked up sticks, I raked leaves, I did all this stuff every single day on the same times that our maintenance staff was supposed to be maintaining the area.
So we're not maintaining.
And it wasn't being done. Whether it was too difficult, or whether we just didn't have the people to do it, or we don't have the right equipment, or whatever it is, it's an extremely hard surface to maintain. I mean, everyone has looked at that. It's hard. I mean, Davy Tree, you know, coming in to groom the sand. I mean, literally, we're using the word grooming sand. We're coming in here. I've looked at the machines that they have to do to use this. They're expensive, you know, in order to be able to do this. But you get pristine sand. It looks great at that point in time. The problem that I have is, fecal matter aside, there's a trash and just general debris issue. My problem was, for instance, when I went out and I raked the area looking for things, we found sticks and leaves and just trash because people aren't picking it up.
Well, sticks and leaves are okay, but trash ain't great.
Yeah,
It's a heavily used.
it is what it is. I mean, people aren't picking it up. So,
it's a heavily used.
What I would propose, the route I'm going is looking at it from a maintenance perspective only on, if we want to maintain sand, we got to maintain it to a ridiculously clean level. And if we're willing to pay for that, we're willing to pay for that. Let's go for it. The other option is that do we try to find a middle ground? We've already decided in North Village that one of the sandboxes is gone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye sandbox. The other one we're looking at trying to figure out, we have a temporary cover on it right now, and we're looking at a more permanent solution for that cover so that it will work. So that there is the option, so that it's not a surface, it's then a piece of equipment that someone could go to, and they can either go play in sand. Would people be open to the idea of doing something similar at Longmeadow, where folks that want to play in sand, if I want to bring my son to have him go play in sand at Longmeadow, he can still play in sand at Longmeadow. But the safety surface, because, I mean, I'm looking at the surface as a surface, not as an amenity, even though technically, people use it as an amenity. But as a surface, do we then replace that with something different that's easier for us to maintain? Because, I mean, when we do the mulch, Steve, we don't get, removing poop from the discussion, trash, general debris and stuff like that, we get complaints about the surface itself, that people don't like the mulch because it gets in shoes and that sort of thing. But we don't get complaints of, I guess, contaminated pieces of stuff.
But there have been choking problems with mulch too.
Sure.
I just think with the mulch it's just a cost-effective way. It doesn't cost as much. It's lower maintenance. You do have to kind of fluff it back into place, but it's not.
But there haven't been deaths from sand, but there have been choking things from mulch. So
over a 10-year period, what's the cost for it? Isn't that the life cycle for that board and plate stuff?
The board and play, they typically will give you a warranty for about 5 years. I think the synthetic turf, you get a warranty up to 10 years.
So that's a nice surface. Can a kid play there?
Basically, there's no cost, right?
So there is a choice.
What's the cost to maintain the mulch? What's the cost to maintain the sand for 10 years?
Well, the mulch has to be changed out every year.
Well, it could be $10,000 every year to maintain the sand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what we're saying right now.
Right.
Can we get up?
By the way, that is just to play it up in the that is probably, that's the minimum in my opinion. Because that doesn't account for,
It's going to happen.
I don't know if they're going to fix it based on the poop standard or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That would be part of the contract that we'd have.
Well, and it states in that bid that they don't include any sort of sanitation in that.
Right.
It's for sand grooming.
So we might want to get other sand beds if we maintain it. Because Davey does run one.
So do we?
Can I just have one thing with the maintenance?
Sure.
So just to answer Tom's question, there's two different kind of pieces in the sand every morning, and there's, I think it's cats because there's a little hole and it's stretched and circle and it's covered. There's also different kind of pieces. I think it's raccoons because it's just staying there and it's breaded in sand, but there's flies that go on it and it's drier and flatter. Sorry, it's not romantic, but I think the maintenance for those two types of pieces has to be different. The other thing is if the animal defecates during the night and it's there in the morning, and then it rains on it, then there's no way that we can see those traces or we can see the flies. So it's just going to stay in there, So I just feel that there's a lot of maintenance issue. If the maintenance team comes in the morning and the animals go in the afternoon, it's going to stay in there. I just see a lot of issues, and I every day with my kids for the past 3 years, and I've never ever seen any feces in artificial turf, for instance. I haven't found any in the mulch either. By the way, you guys did an awesome job at Lakeside. It's a very nice new mulch there. I haven't found anything in the mulch. I haven't looked for it, you know, and I've been many times at Long Meadow before, and I've never seen feces before. You know, it's only when I started looking actively.
So I guess I'll be blunt. What do you want there?
I want a surface that...
No. What do you want there?
I want me, ideally, would be turf.
So, okay.
If we have the money, but I understand
you want
it's a cost
turf.
concern.
It's a cost concern.
Yeah, I understand.
Here's my concern with turf.
Yes.
Turf has a base layer in it, which we use already at other parks and playgrounds. So I'm opening myself up for a can of worms already. That's pelletized rubber.
Yes.
There's reports of it that it's a carcinogen.
Right.
My concern is that we spend a lot of money to replace with synthetic turf, and in 2 years, we have residents concerned that it's now a carcinogen.
Right. I think that
And they ask us to remove it. So
don't touch it as much. You know, I know that the goalies, you know, the girl goalies fall on it and scratch themselves, and after they've scratched themselves on the turf many times, they might develop some cancer, you know, but I just feel that little kids are not going to do that, you know.
So now we're exposing there's another issue with this. The size is, you're closer to the surface, but you're only 3 feet high.
And I want to know what the sanitation standard is for the feces in the grass that which kids play.
Read my mind.
They play on grass. There is, I guarantee, I've seen far more feces in grass in Celebration than I've ever seen. I've seen 0 in sand. I'm probably in the thousands for grass.
Animals are attracted to loose.
I'm just saying, there's feces in grass, there's feces in the woods, there's feces on a sidewalk, there's...
And
again,
we can't hand the world.
Don't forget the birds. Don't forget the birds crapping over you.
Can I just
You know,
encourage
God
you
knows.
and to look through when Steve hands out to you the handout that I made, because there's a lot of really good information there. And there is actually carcinogen concern with sand as well. If you don't have the correct sand, it has to be silica-free, tremolite-free. So I think with any surface, it is a concern, and I believe you can't even have grass now because of the fall height issue. So all surfaces are, you know, a give or a take. So that's an issue as well.
Yeah, so you've proven my point.
Cancer goes
of every surface we're going to have a problem. And we have to completely weigh the balances of it. I think that it's been very contentious the way that it's been brought forward to us as a problem.
But I don't think it should be, though. But it shouldn't be. I think we should.
There is no universal safe standard for the world.
Yeah, but the problem is that if you live in Long Meadow or anything else, is you shouldn't take it personally. There's a set of parents.
They don't live in Long Meadow.
It doesn't matter. That's the difference.
Wait,
Common sense.
There's choices.
There's
not knee-jerk reactions.
There's a set of parents that feel that there's an issue, and we should listen to the issue.
There's also a set of parents that have threatened litigation, and I'm sorry, but I'm a volunteer in this community for 19 years. I have 2 on my phone. I'm sorry, I didn't say you did. I'm saying it is very difficult for me as a community volunteer for 19 years, and whether I've lived here 19 years or 5 minutes, as a person, as a human being, to volunteer our time and to be treated with such disrespect and to be threatened and to feel literally lose sleep and lose time with my family over an issue. And you're smiling, Lauren. I'm glad you think it's funny.
She thinks it's funny.
I'm glad you think it's funny. But Laura,
okay, guys.
But
hold on.
Can we not address some?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, constructively.
Wait, I'm going to finish my statement.
Yeah.
We are volunteers. You are welcome to run for CROA in March. There's open seats.
I'm interested in keeping the kids safe right here. That's
So, one question, and this has nothing to do about the sand. Okay? And this question is to you, Steve. Okay? In my experience on the board, if somebody mentions any type of legal action against association, discussion with those entities ends.
Correct.
Unless you have a legal counsel present.
I think you have to protect your best interests. If there's any type of litigation, you have to be.
So I'm done.
But I have had residents go ahead and say, I will go ahead and I'm seeking an attorney, I've got advice from an attorney, and the advice from the CROA attorney always been cease and desist any type of conversations. Because anything that is said from the board, go ahead and be brought up later.
I appreciate what you're saying, but can we address the?
You were at those meetings.
I've been on the board longer than, I mean, Dave and I have been on the longest of everybody, and maybe I'm just jaded. I don't take anything personally, and the fact is, the delivery of an issue comes different from everybody, so I don't take it personally how the delivery came. I just don't take it personally, and I know maybe you guys do or whatever. At the end of the day, is they have an issue. I'm trying to address the issue. If I don't believe in the issue, I'll tell them I don't believe in the issue. But I think they have some points. They brought it. We don't clean the sand well enough. Back to Eric's point, which we get back to. What are we doing to address the deficiencies in the sand cleaning up and that kind of stuff? And can we maintain the sand at a reasonable cleanliness to continue? And I understand if I lived in Long Meadow Park, I totally understand that I don't want people from the outside telling me what to do in my park. The fact is, that's not my point right now. The point is there a better surface for the sand? Can we clean it? And if not, then that's fine. But if there is, let's figure out to fix it. Because I don't care about those emotional issues. Can we do this? Do we need to clean the sand? Can we clean it adequately? If not, we need to change the surface. And if yes, then let's clean it. That's all.
Have you been at the golf course lately?
I don't have just 3-year-old kids playing the golf course.
I'm using this as an example.
But it doesn't make sense.
Sand, the sand that's at the golf course should be filled with shit then. Because every animal crosses...
They rake it every single day.
That's the point.
Right.
If you rake it every day, 7 days a week, I don't care if you hire somebody extra to do it for 4 hours a day, and do every stinking park that has sand in it, at least it'll be done properly with a proper
It's $10,000. We got to go.
Let's get on.
No, we can't depend on volunteers.
So I think that they put sand in their mouth.
No, not the golf course.
Right. It's not.
I'm not saying about putting sand in their mouth at the golf course. I'm saying that the sand is clean in the sand traps. There's no crap or anything else there. Listen, I've been listening to this for weeks or months already about this. All we have to do is clean the sand, and that's it. You're going to get the same fecal matter in the grass. Don't tell me no.
The artificial turf, there's never been.
I'm not talking about artificial turf. I'm talking about the regular grass that the kids play in. Even in the pool itself, I wouldn't even go in the swimming pool that we have in this town because the kids crap in it and they pee in it, and so do the adults. And I stay away from it. So you're worried about your kids in the stupid sand. I worry about them in the water also.
Well, my daughter actually pooped in the lakeside pool. It was very
that's really great. That's really great. And we paid to have it cleaned up.
They evacuated everybody in the pool and they closed it.
So maybe she shouldn't be in the pool then. She should be in the kiddie pool.
I think what we're addressing.
Why should I be exposed to it?
I think come on. Addressing.
You want to talk about everything? We'll talk about everything.
Well, let's not get personal. You're elected volunteer.
Yeah, I'm an elected volunteer. 9 years here. This is the first time I've ever had this problem.
Well, you're going to have problems, mate. That's why you...
Not this kind of problem.
What problems do you want to deal with? You don't get to change the problem. I think that what we've acknowledged is that there is an issue with maintenance. Everyone can agree on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Clean it.
So...
End this thing.
I think that the question where we need to provide some direction to management for next week is, are we looking at going down a path of maintenance?
I would like to look at maintenance.
Going down a path of surface replacement?
I would like to look at maintenance, and I'm going to be quiet after that.
So...
I vote for maintenance, to look at maintenance.
I think we're asking management.
Well, that's yeah.
Right? I mean, I thought we were asking management to see, first, can we maintain it?
Yeah.
That's the standard.
Well, I think we need to address, with the safety issue brought up, does it meet the standard?
Right.
Before, if it doesn't meet the standard, then that's a totally different discussion than what we're having right now.
Let's go there.
And then I think the other two arguments are completely different arguments, because leaves and sticks and things like that nobody's saying that there's a danger there from that happening.
Sure.
So I'll tell you, we cannot guarantee you that fecal matter is going to be cleaned immediately, or we can tell the difference between a raccoon or a cat. We just don't have that subject matter expertise on staff to be able to do that. So If we're talking about setting those standards as this is how the maintenance has to be, it would be a little bit more difficult for that. It makes more sense at that point in time to hire a company to come in.
And just so that we're clear, go ahead.
I guess my one question, I know at the last board meeting that was addressed was the stray animals. I know you did see some animals that were identified on the tape. We didn't witness anything, but we did see animals that were on the tape. Have we reached out to animal control, or have we reached out to the owners of the animals that were witnessed on there?
No, and I
We
don't
saw no
know
animals defecated.
what owners.
That's not my question.
I've talked to animal control.
I know, but this, what's your name, I'm sorry?
Larry.
I've
trapped.
I've never met you before. You
Do you
said
have a
you
trap in your
called.
backyard?
You said you called.
I live right across the street.
How recent?
I know where you live.
Sorry.
Yeah.
In the last year, I've caught probably 5 animals that were causing problems in our.
Squirrel? What kind of animals? Squirrels?
We caught raccoons, we caught possums, and we caught feral cats.
Okay.
Feral cats was a Siamese.
Do you have traps in your backyard?
I set them outside.
Yeah,
So I set them around the house, and we get problems when they.
You set them out front or out back?
Both.
You set them out front where kids could get into them? You have no fence in front?
Animal traps.
Okay.
No, they trap them, the animal control comes in and takes them and releases them out.
Okay, so you set them in the front or the back?
I've seen
Okay.
cats that belong to owners too. They don't look like.
And even with the ant, you said we saw a loose dog that was correct. So I guess my question is, can we identify who the owner is that's violating our leash laws?
And I think working with the neighbors, and if we know what the dog looks like and those types of things, we'll definitely work towards that. The only the issue I've had before working in parks, setting out traps, is that you're going to get multiple different animals into those traps. And you don't know if it's the offending animal or not the offending animal. You got to remember, we built in the animals' home. So we have this community around where they live. So the minute you start putting those traps out there, you're going to get multiple different animals in there.
Right.
So,
and I don't know that that's going to stop any animals from going to the bathroom.
Yeah. So you're gonna just capture the animal.
Because they were causing problems.
Yeah, sure. Right.
And as soon as we catch one, a couple of months later.
They come pick it up.
Yeah. They come pick it up. It tends to be worse in certain seasons. You tend to see possums in one season, we tend to get raccoons in another, and then feral cats or whenever.
Yeah.
Apparently there's been a big problem in the area where we live with feral cats going back to the law.
We have it, I guess, at the tape, did you see, that was the one thing we didn't, and you don't know if it's because the motion detector doesn't catch yet.
It was also placed on one side, so you were limited, because we saw it when we were out, you're limited on the scope of what you can get from the animals. Unless you have 3 or 4 around the park, you're not going to catch it. And depending on how they move, my understanding is whether it's triggers or not.
So I think what we need to figure out, because the other thing too is that, to Debbie's point, the bid that we have for maintenance from Davey is one bid, and then the other issue that we have is, quite honestly, the bid from Davey for maintenance is not acceptable. It's not going to meet the standard that we've been requested or we expect for the sand to be maintained at. We have to be able to, because there needs.
But is that whose standard is that?
It's a standard, industry standard.
No, for what? Keeping sand, or what are you saying? For what?
For removing the fecal matter that you're referring to.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, because, and it depends. Anyways, the issue that we have to have is that going to encompass that sort of service? Or are we going to rely on maintenance staff to be able to do that? Because to use the pool example, when someone poops in the pool, we call a contractor.
We close it.
And we close the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So do we close the playground and we wait for Davey or Sam Joe or whoever to come out to clean and sanitize the surface, and then we reopen the playground? My problem that I have with that is I don't know how fast we can get that turned. I mean, if we can get a vendor that can do it quickly, great. But I mean, the pool issue, with throwing it down there is fine. But I still go back to, aside from the whole poop issue, there's compaction with the sand. It's wet. It gets funky, that sort of thing. So if we want to do that and we maintain it, I would want to see some sort of I guess, protocol or procedure in place from whoever we would want to do from a maintenance standpoint, that if the sand starts to mold or it has this certain issue, they start to do something about it, whether they turn it over or whether they do whatever. It is what it is.
So your SOP.
You know, so if we want to go down the maintenance road of it and find it, I just don't know if we can do it, to be honest. I mean, even if we hire a vendor for it. I mean, I'm jaded about this because I have issues with maintenance anyway. So I have a hard time with maintenance just in general.
We need to look at the cheapest way of doing it, maintenance free. I don't think we can handle the maintenance like you said. I don't know where we have a good analysis, dollar-wise. In the long run, what's going to be best for us. I'm astounded by the $10,900 cost for sand per year. That's $110,000 in 10 years. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think we need to give consideration to people living around the area and get their opinion. But I think in the near future, I think we need to keep that thing as clean as possible. See if there's any way, and then explore the costs in future service for it.
Leonard?
I just got one quick comment. I think, at least for the first 10 years I lived in town, they always saw them down in Long Meadow having a round rake type thing that they ran through there. And then they blew the leaves off. And I think one of the things we're dealing with right now is 20-year-old sand with a lot of organic matter on it. And I personally think the sand should all be taken out, down to a certain level, a foot, whatever, and replaced with fresh sand. And then you're going to find that raking and things like that look much differently from a standpoint. The other thing that happens too is you get all kinds of animal smells in any area. And animals like to go and mark their territories where other animals have marked their territories. You put new sand in there, there's no territories in there right now, even though they do like softer surfaces.
Sure.
How is that original sand? Have we replaced it?
I didn't see anywhere that it's been completely.
Can I suggest you talk to Pete and ask him what they've done, or reach back to Jerome?
Yeah, I've reached out to maybe Jerome. There's been some refurbishment of it, but there hasn't been a complete replacement of all this.
Can we get a price for that?
Sure.
Okay.
So what do we want to do, guys? I mean, because I think what we need to be able to do, Debbie is in favor of maintenance.
I think we need to find out first if it's safe, because no matter what, even at the end of the day, I can't see how Debbie's gonna even be against something.
I checked and I talked to several safety boards about sand as an acceptable surface, and it's still being used.
It's the height is what she's
Yeah.
Compactness makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly what saying is if we put new sand in, it might make a big difference in terms of compactness. But
can I make a recommendation? Then I think we paid a minimal fee to do a hick test.
How much is the hick test for the playground?
And so I'm thinking $500, $800 was the amount. So
let's do it tomorrow.
Actually, why not just get them to hick test all the playgrounds?
So can we? Now you're
well, you're right. Exactly. You want the answer.
But I think we're at this point now, though, that we need to know that answer.
With this one, we should.
So Steve and guys, jump in if I'm going astray here. But is it reasonable for us to be able to vote on at the next meeting for you to have a proposal for us to have a safety test or whatever, the HIC test done on?
Can you get that?
It might actually fall within my revenue. Spending some.
What was to have the test itself, or to
do the test? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
it's within your spending threshold.
Yeah. So I mean,
email us and ask us to vote online.
I mean, I think the
there's
thing
an
is
issue.
too is that I mean it's within Steve's spending threshold too.
If it's not,
if he isn't,
Steve, can we do the testing on all the playgrounds?
School.
I mean, I think that's the easiest thing.
How quickly do those results come back?
They do pretty much everything there. They got the calibration equipment.
It's pretty cool.
It's just a matter of doing the report.
Well, yeah, you can drop me notes.
Can I make a recommendation though? I would say that if it's not within your threshold, then you shouldn't wait until next week to do this. You should go ahead and send us an email, and we'll
Steve, too, I mean, I would be comfortable with, if it's over your spending threshold to do all the playgrounds, let's start with Long Meadow first.
Right.
If it's
Yes.
$500 for a one-off,
Right.
great, let's have that done, and then we can look at
Because
it
that may change our
as
whole
an
concept.
as an ongoing basis, yeah.
Are you talking about small tests?
Yes.
I believe that all you have to do is measure the heights, right?
Yeah, but there's an actual calibration machine that they use
Have
called
the
a
average weight of the child and,
So,
yeah.
and then it's also someone else that's doing it, so, which they do it all day.
Yeah, it's a head. It's a head. That's exactly what it is. It's a weight of the head. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
If they hit their head, are they gonna?
That's
they're-
So, so I think we're comfortable with that. Now, in order to provide, do we want to, what's our next step as far as the surface? Do we want to wait until we have the results of that test, or?
Sure. I think personally, I would like to wait for the results of the test. My preference is not to change a surface quickly. I don't want to make a rash decision and make the change of a surface. But we have to make sure that that maintenance is done so that it's to standard of care. We can't we just have to. It's just.
But my thinking is most of the feces, which I don't really know, I'm guessing it happens a lot of it overnight. So the $10,000 that Davey did is mostly morning maintenance and that kind of stuff, probably cleaning maybe that area, that kind of stuff. My issue is we're going to, because we have self-service and because we have a group of residents that are now more
aware,
vigilant. Yeah, I was looking for aware, right, of the issue. They're going to be reporting the issue a lot more.
Just like they have, yeah.
And I don't know.
It's going to change. Yeah.
I don't. Well, it might even get worse, right? Depending on more animals, less animals. I don't know. So how are we going to handle those ongoing requests? Is really I'm concerned with your staff being able. That's really what it is.
Well, and Laura's asked me that question. What if they clean it up and then an animal comes again?
Yeah.
The only answer I have is we're going to go back out and clean it again.
And do we have a staff? Do we need to designate a park monitor to teach them how to do this now, or something?
We don't have anybody dedicated to just going back and cleaning the fecal matter.
I'm the one who's finding them.
You're the only one finding them. Yeah.
Better trained to find this area.
Maybe you could train them.
So,
I don't know.
So I think that, Steve, do you have enough direction for the meeting, or what else?
We're going to go with the HIC testing and look at that, and we'll continue to daily go out there and check the area. If we don't see it and it's reported through self-service, we'll go back out and we'll clean it.
Okay.
But what about the cleaning and the sand maintenance itself? Who's going to do that?
Well, that's what we do right now. No,
Right now, we're proposing that it's the same kind of thing that we have today. If there's a reported issue, in-house maintenance goes out, scoops 1 foot in each direction, and cleans.
So nobody's going to throw sand?
I do it every day. Yeah, I don't know if you have this staff to do
yeah,
that.
that may be a little bit more difficult. We have, in our standard operating, we have rake it once a week, and then we have every day about a half an hour go out, visually inspect, low leaves, those kind of things.
Right. What do you think?
I think it'll work.
I don't think you'll either.
Once you hire someone part-time, I have to do it.
Steve, I still want to see cost estimates.
For $10,000 a year, you could stand there
Profit
and
level
have the year.
of whatever services
I mean,
are available.
part-time person for $10,000 is a
And
lot
we need to
of
do a complete analysis on what the best services for us in the long run. You know, whether we have to do a percentage in one service, whether we're dealing with fecal waste pattern in one service, or whatever is going to improve with the wood chips.
I just don't want to chase good money with that. I don't want to just go. I just don't want to go through and totally replace the sand just to have to replace it with another surface, or replace another surface and then have to replace it again. We need to make sure we're making sound decisions.
I think some of the synthetic they're using they could use other things in other rubber pellets now too. So they have natural stuff and different things. My daughter's a goalie, high school goalie, by the way, just to let you know.
To your point, whatever we do, to me, it's a 10-year issue. It's going to last 10 years.
Can I just say that if we had one park monitor to go out there an hour a day at the rate you pay the park monitors, and I only know that because I know the rate you pay them, it would be $3,650 a year, and I think that's better than the Davy bid of $10,000. They could go for an hour every single day. They could rotate so they didn't have to get bored with it, but they could go for an hour every single day. That'd be $3,650 plus matching for FICA and everything else, but still cheaper than $10,000. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm. And we have 2 lifeguards at Lakeside Park, and I'm not sure we need 2 lifeguards all the
And
time.
I do think the cameras should be put
Until
out
8 o'clock at
there as
night.
well.
So
for safety.
What I think we're going to do the test. We're going to look at testing all the parks while we're at it, and then from that we'll make a determination on surfacing. Does that sound right? Right. And then in the interim, we'll continue to, as it's reported, we'll clean the surface, and then it's still, we're going to continue with the procedure of it gets a more, I guess, thorough raking on a weekly basis, right?
Well, one employee,
that's what we
1
do
hour a
today.
week, however we start.
Well, I think that's what we do today, right?
Yeah, we start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do any of these cameras cover the playgrounds? No. In the parks? Why not?
I'd like to have playground.
I mean, I remember, I thought that was one of our.
Spring Park, I think you can, right? I think Spring Park.
Spring Park is covered by cameras.
Oh, yeah, some of the playgrounds you can see.
Well, then maybe this.
But not only Long Meadow has one.
Get a camera.
Yeah.
I suggested get a camera and put it there.
Yeah.
So we see what's going on.
We did.
And so we tie it into the system here, we have everything on video.
Yeah.
It'll stop all the nonsense.
Well, that will
So-
prove that the animals are using it.
What else, does anyone else have any other comments on the sand surfacing?
Nope.
Hire someone and clean it, you know.
So I'm going to open it up. We've already talked with you guys tonight already about it. Please let me know what you think.
I'm really, really happy with that discussion. I thought that we were listened to at this time, and I appreciate all the efforts that you and Steve and the rest of the board are putting into this project.
So just so that we're crystal clear, we haven't forgotten about this.
Okay.
This is an ongoing issue, clearly. You saw how long we debated about engineering studies. We're doing the same, we do this for everything. You know, and to be honest, I argued with Debbie more about an engineering study than I'm arguing with her about sand. I mean, so.
We argue a lot.
You know, it's kind of.
The rest of it's during email.
It is, you know, we do this for everything. We need to make sure that it's a long-term decision to Jack's point. So we'll continue on, just understand that we're still working as best we can with the resources, you know, both in maintenance-wise as well as financially, in order to be able to maintain it to the ability that we can right now that we're doing.
You won't get mad at me if I continue to report the pieces, right?
Just don't break it.
It's a litigation, Laura. I think the threat of litigation is what is concerning.
I would just like to add, I haven't made any threats of litigation.
No, I didn't say you had.
I know.
Laura's consulted an attorney.
I don't.
Correct? Have you consulted an attorney?
Attorney doesn't mean that.
No, but have you consulted, just answer, have you consulted an attorney?
Attorney for every resident that said that, I'd be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
It's pretty well.
She's just protecting you, she said. She's protecting the board. You guys don't have your own attorneys.
People maybe have gotten concerned about themselves when they hear that there could be risks about liability or that somebody's threatening, but as far as I know, there hasn't been any threats. I mean, I certainly don't think that we're all in some sort of group that are threatening litigation. So I appreciate, Lee, that you mentioned, I mean, we're bringing up the problem. I'm just trying to present you guys with facts as well. I mean, the info sheets that I gave you, it's just facts.
You're an attorney, right?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
So the only thing that I will say to that is, and unlike Lee, I do take this extremely personally.
Why?
So
Because we care about our community, and we care when people tell us we don't care about children.
I care.
That frustrates me
Yes.
most is when someone
I know she's
is telling me that how many more children is it going to take until I pay attention to the issue? How many more reports is it going to take until I acknowledge there's a problem?
How many more automobile deaths are there going to happen to ban cars?
Well, the first board meeting, Lee was actually leading the meeting, and we really felt listened to. You know, he acknowledged that there was an issue and that he was going to work on it. And then I guess in other instances, the answer was, well, it's just your parenting choice, you know, whether you want it. And, you know, this kind of issue when you're a resident, you don't really feel like you're listened to, you know, and that's when it triggers a little bit of frustration.
Well, I think also that first meeting, though, it was never on an agenda. So what our intention was to get it to this point so we can have a discussion. And so I think it was a little sloppy how we got here, but we're here. And let's try to resolve where we are. So.
And I don't think we need cat feces back to any more meetings, if I could just put that on the record.
Well, I think it's also because, I mean, we are defensive as a board. We're not going to admit that somebody got sick from something. You know what I mean? You know, we have no proof that says that. We're not going to say that. So we have to, I mean, you know, as a board, we can't, you know, we're not going to say that. We have not any evidence that says that. But, you know, I think, and it may not be, when we forget the craziness of, you know, even testing something like that. But at some point, if we find that this is a big issue and we just clean, we might want to find out what kind of animal it is and test it and that kind of stuff. But, you know, you did the first step. You put a camera. So we're trying our best, and we're not perfect, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. And I guess part of the reason I don't understand emotionality is because I don't have any reason to pursue this. I haven't used Long Meadow Park in probably a year because I know.
But you do go there often, right?
I don't.
I see you there often.
No, you don't. I've not been there a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You must see somebody else.
I did walk past on the opposite side of the street once last week. I haven't taken my daughter there in a long, long time. But
you weren't there 2 weeks ago?
Okay, guys, hang on.
Doesn't matter, that's here nor there.
I just wanted to say that I don't have any reason, and Laura doesn't either, for making this an issue other than the fact that, you know, we just want people to be healthy and to be in an environment that's clean and that's safe. And that's really, I mean, if I'm just speaking for myself, that's my own motivation. And I don't live close to Long Meadow either, so.
Nor do I.
So you're doing this for that? Okay.
I think the thing that, the reason why I made it personal is because
we've been attacked.
There's been some personal comments. And I'm a person. I am trying my damnedest to manage this and about 50 other billion things that people complain about. When someone tells me that we are not looking into something, or how many children is it going to take, or that we need to test poop, you're an attorney. I'm obviously not going to admit that something's wrong. I'm never going to do that. I can't do that. I have acknowledged that there's a problem, though, and that we're working to resolve it. That was why, to be honest, we broke Robert's rules, and we're having a direct conversation, because I want to understand crystal clear that there is a recognition that we are trying to do something.
Yes, absolutely.
And we are not going to fix it tonight. We're not going to fix it tomorrow. But there's something going on that we're trying to fix. Understand that other things have been put on hold, too, so that we can fix this. Lots of things.
More important things, possibly. Everything.
Lots of
everything. Because we do all have jobs.
And I think
we have families.
The thing that is funny is when I receive notes about financial concerns about different things, one of the things that's put on hold is the playground for my son to play at 1 block away from my house. So please, please do not, and this is everyone, ever accuse someone without having full facts that
we don't care.
We don't care. So I thank you for being patient with us and as much as we can, but we can't fix everything overnight. We, once again, are trying our hardest to fix it.
And I mean, I greatly appreciate the hard work and everything. And I mean, we're not gaining anything financially either.
Neither are we.
I know that, and I know you're volunteers, and I just think that we also, we're also people, so for me to hear, like, maybe this is suspected, or maybe, like suspicious, that's not great to hear either, so, I don't think there would be any motivation for anybody to plan something or do anything like that. So at the same time, I think we need mutual understanding of each other. So I mean, I definitely appreciate your efforts, and we're doing our best on our side as well.
And if I may ask, you just stated a moment ago that you haven't been, you don't go along there. What's your horse in the race then? I don't quite understand, because you have people that like Long Meadow,
the way
they like the sand, and they let their kids play in the sand currently how it is. If there is feces in it, they really don't care, because they have a different idea of the health possibilities out of that sand.
Why are you right and we're wrong?
Why is your standard the only standard?
Why are they right and we're wrong?
Excuse me, Doug. May I finish asking my whole question? My whole question then is, why should your choice affect someone that across town where you don't come to, you already admitted or said, and why are you here then? That's my question.
Well, I don't come to the playground now because I'm aware of the risks involved in other species. I don't think it's an appropriate place for my child to play. The reason I come is I'm doing my best to do what I think is right, which is to hopefully make other people, make other parents and private leagues aware of what they're getting into when they get into the sand. I mean, all it would take would be a sign to prevent a pregnant lady from getting into.
Don't start on that.
Not that I'm not worried about that, but most signs don't carry a lot of weight as far as legal goes.
Yeah, but we on the CDD we put this the path might be slippery, for bike paths we added a sign, and we felt like we had to add a sign.
Nesting hawks.
Well, that's no good.
So can I say one last thing? So, Eric, I respect the statements you made. I think it's very important. But I will tell this board that I am very disappointed because the way this has been prepared, and I brought this up before, there was a civil way of doing it, and they chose not to do that, okay? And what the board has told the community is, if you want to go ahead and bully and get your way, go ahead and do it, okay? It's a green light. It's a green light to go ahead and say, I'm going to pound and pound and pound and pound, and I'm finally going to get my way. But watch out, because I'm not done yet.
Right.
Because it's going to happen again. This is a crusade to keep going at it. So I hope you're ready, because you're going to be prepared. But coming back, because it's not enough. It started in the school, it pounded the CCDD.
We did it for a long time.
I mean, it's relentless. They don't let it go.
No.
Now, it's fine to say afterwards, yeah, we've done a good job, but, we're all kumbaya, fine. Seriously? No. It's going to happen again. So I hope every single person here is ready for that. And you're going to be surprised, because you're not going to see this one coming. And then you're going to say, well, we did it, and there was precedent set. That's why on the board it's so important to know what you're doing, because once you set precedents, you can't go back. You opened up the door.
I agree.
I'd
like to say one thing before I leave.
I don't know that we've opened up any door tonight. Hold on just a second.
Excuse me.
I don't know, I think we've got it on the table at this point to look at it further. I don't, and the one thing I want to disagree that Eric said is, you can say there's a problem. Well, there are feces there, but some people don't see it as a problem.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look, the safety issue is the biggest thing that I'm concerned about. And we haven't addressed whether we're moving the sand or not.
Right.
So I don't know that we've set a precedent other than to look, only thing we really talked about was, is it a safety concern? And then once we do, then we can go on and actually maintaining the sand. So I do think we need to probably do a better job in keeping it, just for the sheer fact that there's trash out there. Every time, Eric went out there, there's trash. But I don't feel like we set precedent tonight, because there's been no votes taken. And we may disagree on that, Tom, but I think that we need to move forward. And, if the sand needs to be cleaned, I agree with that. But at this point, I'm not sure we need to remove it unless it's a safety issue.
So, Steve, you guys have enough to move on for something for next week, correct? Okay. I'm going to move to adjourn. If everyone can do that.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I just wanted to give condolences to the family of Michael Johnson, who died in the motorcycle accident on 417. He's a resident in town, 26 years old, and just wanted to give condolences to Derek and Patricia for their son's death.
We had another tragedy about 2 weeks ago, I think I mentioned it to Steve, of Richard and Nancy Brown, which is 10-year residents here, and were recently, they just sold their house over at East Park, and they finally moved up to Massachusetts about a month ago into a luxury townhouse or condo thing. Brand new places. Well, a propane tank exploded underneath their house and blew them all. So their funeral is tomorrow.
Thank you, Jack. Anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah. Just remember one thing: you live in the woods out here. Even though we're a town, you still get your deer, your wild boar, your eagles, your hawks. Right, you have all that here. So basically, you can have everything going through the parks at night when you're sleeping. All these animals are out here. So just remember that. You're not going to solve it all.
It's been fun.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, he's big.
When Neil's cats come by,
I was going to tell Eric that the reason he can get, for him not to get upset, not lose sleep over it, is he didn't take it on as his own, answering emails and that, and just sit sad, put it up when it needs to, as opposed to